Welcome, fake nerds. It's Halloween season 2022, and we're here to get wiggity Wendell wet and wild in our review tonight as we dig into the latest of Henry Selick's films. I'm quite excited. I'm Sparks Whitty. I'm, of course, joined by Ryan Eliopoulos.
I'm here to get moist.
Oh, no.
Brandon T. McClure.
We're off to a good start.
And, of course, Ben Magnet.
I am bewildered, and I am a little afraid.
Good. Good.
Happy
Halloween weekend.
We have a lot to dig into because we were gone for 2 weeks, and a whole lot of news happened.
But good news.
You know what?
Is it all good news? The Witcher changed?
No, I mean
DC's heads changed?
I mean it's good news to digest and talk over.
I was about to say most of the news happened this week, and honestly, I think it's actually going to generate some pretty good discussions. I think the audience is in for a good show. So let's get into it.
As someone pops open a cold one.
Happy to be back. It's been a couple of weeks. We're back, gentlemen.
Been such a cold one. It's ginger ale for my tum-tum.
Zero sugar Canada Dry.
But is it cold?
Oh yeah.
There you go. It's a cold one.
I'll allow it.
Well, why don't we pop into some links in the description? Because there are a few.
Really?
What?
Sparks, the madman he is, has been working like an insane madman. I don't know where I was going with that. I completely derailed. Basement Arcade Spooktober. We've been talking about it all months. It's here. 5 episodes, correct?
4?
4. Very many episodes that Sparks put up day after day after day, leading to today. Yep. They are Layers of Fear, Resident Evil Village, Five Nights at Freddy VR. If you want to see Ben rage quit, Five Nights at Freddy VR. That was very funny. I watched the Layers of Fear episode. I finished the Layers of Fear episode in its entirety today, and so I was like, "Oh, I don't have a lot of time. I'll watch the short one, the Five Nights at Freddy VR." And Ben's like, "I don't want to play anymore."
I did not.
VR is like just another level.
I really love the shot that we have, the capture of Ben in real life and the game for that one, and you see the shot where something is walking outside the door, and it takes Ben a moment to realize it, and you see the panic set in.
VR is great.
Honestly, I think one of the best shots of that is just Emma looking up at me like, what the F is he doing?
Yeah.
And the one that dropped today, Slender, The Awakening.
The Arrival.
Sorry, thank you.
By the way, screw you for making me play that game. Because the next day, after we recorded that episode, the very next day, Fanny and I went to Universal for Horror Nights. And as I'm driving up the 57 freeway to turn on the 210, guess who I freaking see on the goddamn foothills? The motherfucking Slender Man.
Was he next to the anti-monitor?
He is up on a hill. He is up on a hill. I'll tell you, Ben, if I knew Slender would have effed you up that hard, we would have played that for year 1.
Yeah.
Year 1.
That was a good one. I'm looking forward to you getting to it, Brandon, because Slender the Arrival is, I think,
actually scary.
Our best of the season. And our best in a while. I think, honestly, since Outlast.
Yeah.
For scaring Ben. Really enjoyed it. Definitely gonna make him do it again.
Yeah.
It definitely did not help that Fanny was next to me as well, because there are parts where the two of you were yelling at me, and then she was yelling at me, and then I was freezing up. Yeah. And I actually had to turn to Fanny to tell her to shush so I could listen to you two. And then
that's honestly part of the phenomenon of Slender is that it became such a that became a game that people all sat around, watched one person play, and all shouted,
big stream,
and had big reactions as they were playing it. I remember those days. That's a big part of the stress of the game is everybody else weighing in.
I remember playing Five Nights at Freddy's last year, I believe. Ben was playing Five Nights at Freddy's the first game, and the 3 of us, the 4 of us, all on the couch, just yelling, "Close the door! Close the door! Close the door!"
Yeah, Fanny too. All 5 of you were screaming at me, telling me to. Actually, no, 4 of you were yelling at me to close the door, and I couldn't hit the button fast enough when that stupid fox was running down the hallway.
That was very fun. I'm excited to watch. So far, I've only seen the 2. The Layers of Fear one was really fun to watch Ben. He was really stressed, but I kind of figured out the game mechanics after a while, so I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of chill watching Ben just freak out about every painting flying across the wall.
Yeah.
Brandon, if you liked the Five Nights at Freddy's one, you're going to love the Slender one.
Wow, I can't wait to watch it. I'm sorry I wasn't there.
You're just going to love. You're gonna sit there. You're gonna. It's like every time freaking Slender shows up, you're just gonna. I can hear you laughing now, essentially.
And
just at my reactions.
The best thing about it is like this game is almost 10 years old at this point. So like when you see with a Slender Man like on the hill, it's just like a black JPEG of a dude like this. But because of like where it is, the positioning and the lighting, like it's really spooky. But like when you really look at him, it's just like a blob. I'm like, man, video games are great. I love it.
So Sparks, shout out to Sparks for putting those episodes up in the quick succession that he did. Highly recommend watching all of those if you want good spooky watching on your Halloween eves.
Yeah.
Or your Halloween days.
They are there.
There's more though. There's more stuff that were done, such as a review special for Black Adam. We were not here last week, so instead, you guys did a review special for Black Adam. I did not get to the theater in time to do it. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or that's there?
The review special's there.
It's there. It speaks for itself.
Does
Ben came out swinging.
Oh yeah, if you want to know how Ben feels, just watch the first 30 seconds.
Ben nails it at the opening real hard.
That is a video and audio in the description that you can find, so check that out, of course. Then there's a couple of Fickner's watches for there's one for Andor 5 through 6. I'm actually on that one. Fickner's watch for Andor is that great show.
4
Love
through
that
6.
show.
Sorry, 4 through 6.
4 through 6. You're right. It's there in my notes. I read that wrong.
I missed out because I'm catching up. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's for real.
It was very fun putting the photo together for that one. Like, I hope this is episode 5.
I think
they're all in
my
this
episode.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings, Fickner's watch for 5 through 8.
Yeah, that was also Sans Brandon, sadly. But we got it out. We had a lot of thoughts. I'm excited about that show.
Yeah.
I still need to catch up. I haven't yet. Basement Arcade pause menu. The Basement Arcade pause menu quarterly for the third quarter dropped. Audio and video once again in the link below. Do you guys want to say anything about that?
I think this is getting much closer to the kind of quarterly show we wanted to do. I think we were much more like diving into the discussions that we wanted to have. It helped a lot that we talk at length about Cult of the Lamb because all three of us played it in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just having something like that has been really nice for us. So I'm very pleased with the way the quarterlies are going.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Not only that, a friend of mine at work actually approached me and told me that he listened to the quarterly. And he's like, yeah, and I started watching it. I haven't got through the whole thing. And then when he finally did get through the whole thing, he comes up to me and says, yeah, you're right. Those NFT consoles are stupid.
It's true.
It's true. All of it.
Preaching the good word.
Yeah.
Yep.
I almost asked what the hell you're talking about, but then I remembered I don't care. So that's there. You guys can check that out. But again, audio and video as well. Normally, I wouldn't put this in the description, but look, our 300th episode was very long.
Yes.
It was a very long episode. So that went up this week, I believe, or last week.
Went up earlier this week.
Earlier this week as its own video. So if you just want to check us out talking about the rebuild of Evangelion films, that's linked below, and you can find it on our channel. Highly recommend that. That was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
There's the time for it.
It's got the sick intro at the beginning. Ben, have you seen that intro yet?
Oh, I've seen it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that intro.
Thanks to Jeremy Bellucci for everything he did for that episode.
For those of you who don't want to just click play on the beginning of the video, which why wouldn't you? It's right there. It's on our Instagram page. Sparks was kind enough to upload that really awesome intro that he and Jeremy Bellucci created on our Instagram page, and you can check it out now.
Fanny forced me to pause it on Sparks' name because she could have swore it said Sparkle.
Sparkle.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's all the Yeah, that's all the show description notes. So all those linked below, you can check them out. Look, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. We put between the last time you saw us and now, we put up a lot of stuff, and we think it's all really good, and we want you to check it out and support it and give it a like or a dislike. I don't care. It's all engagement.
No, don't dislike it.
Yeah.
Go with a like.
I'd rather you not.
Notably, also our Halloween Ends review is also up as its own individual thing.
That is true.
Check that out. Ben didn't get to be part of that, unfortunately.
I was not part of it, but I did see the movie.
Did you like it, Ben?
No.
I figured.
Oh.
I honestly,
Damn it.
I was hoping it would be the opposite, but it was either going to be you love it or hate it. And
Ben,
yeah.
have you listened to our discussion about it?
Not yet.
Okay, I really want you to do that and then tell me what you think about it. It doesn't have to be on the show, but I'd love to hear what you think after you listen to us talk about it.
Okay.
I did watch your video on Black Adam, by the way. After I watched the movie. After I watched the movie.
Are you kind of with us?
I will get to it in my week.
Oh, the hierarchy.
The hierarchy has to wait. So okay. So we're gonna so now these are kind of like personal links, because there's a few personal links also that I want to highlight. I'm gonna go with my things first, and then Ben has a few things in the description. My screen rant work is in the description as always. There are 2 new articles that were published. One about Henry Selick's films on ranked according to IMDb. Interesting list. Guess what the most popular movie is? Surprising no one.
Memorable Christmas.
Yeah, and Ahsoka, and there's an Ahsoka list that I put up based on Tales of the Jedi, which I will get to in my week as well. But what I really want to highlight are the ones that I'm really proud of, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm sick and tired of doing lists. I hope Screen Rant's not listening. I'm tired of lists. I want to write features. I want to write the things that I'm going to talk about next a lot more. I love them. I have to put a lot of work into them. I'm proud of them. So first, what I want to highlight is End of the Arrowverse, which is an article that you can read on atomicgeekdom.com, where I talk about why it is disappointing that the Flash season 9 is ending the Arrowverse, and kind of what we've talked about on the show a lot, which is kind of how it just kind of fizzled out after Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that's a bummer. And so I go into my thoughts on that, and of course I loop in the news on all that. Anybody think Justice U is happening? Probably not. So you can read that. I'm really happy with that article. I worked really hard on it. A lot of research went into that. There was one thing I didn't mention. Right, I didn't mention the Armageddon crossover, and I kind of felt like I should have, but it's already published, so oh well. Then there's there's one I was working on for so long, it became so irrelevant that I had to overhaul the whole damn thing. I was writing a piece called Schrodinger's Superman. Warner Schrodinger's Superman, and I was writing a piece. I was writing that for so long because I get distracted very easily, that as the weeks got closer to Black Adam, it became more and more irrelevant. Mm-hmm. So I overhauled the whole thing, and I think it's great. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I'm really proud of it. Again, it's called Warner Superman.
I can vouch for how great it is because I read it and I saw it and I was like, oh, I gotta read this. It is a good piece.
I'm really happy you feel that way. So it's Warner Schrodinger's Superman is let out of the box, and I talk about what Hamada was doing with Superman, and talking about the 2 African-American Superman movies and shows that were in development with Ta-Nehisi Coates and Michael B. Jordan, and kind of how all that was putting fans in such a weird limbo. And then, of course, talking about Henry Cavill's triumphant return as the Man of Steel. So that's in the description. Again, I work really hard on those pieces. I really like them. I got one coming out tomorrow that is 3 pages. I'm gonna be honest, probably shouldn't have been 3 pages, but you're getting the whole unfiltered notes, baby. I'm happy with that one too. But that'll talk about next week.
Brandon, I will tell you, as someone who likes reading, the longer the better.
Oh, I'm glad.
I want you to die. The second you write a 20-page thesis, I'm going to go back to college. I want that. I love when you write long things.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not citing you, but by comparison of your contemporaries, nothing bothers me more than wanting to read something that looks like it's an opinion piece, and it's their opinion is here, and then the rest is this is the news that happened that led to this thing and this thing and this thing, and it's 5 paragraphs of things I already know.
Yeah,
and this is the part of their opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, if people could go to those articles in the description below, put some eyes on them. I don't get paid for those. I want to. Those are the ones I want to do. Those are the ones I want to get paid to do. Those are the ones I want to do for the rest of my life. And I really hope that you guys check those out. I'm very proud of them.
The fun ones.
The fun ones, exactly. And of course, my Revisiting the Infinity Saga series is back temporarily. It's actually going to be taking another break soon, but I've got 3 pieces in the hole for that. The first one was number 31, and it's about the snap. Major moment in the MCU, traumatized audiences across the globe. So I talked about that. I think it's actually one of my better pieces, personally. So you can check that out in the description below. And next week, I'm really excited for that one. So wait for that. That's all me. I'm done blustering. I'm done. Link in the description. Find those. Ben.
Yo.
Talk about D and Dark.
Yeah, so D and Dark is a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition inspired podcast, but instead of your regular fantasy characters, we are instead playing famous Universal movie monsters. I myself am playing Frankenstein's monster. Grayson, friend of the show, he is playing the Invisible Man. We have Jordan, who's playing Larry Talbot, the Wolfman. And also we have Dan and Aaron playing the Imhotep the Mummy and Phantom of the Opera, respectively. And it's a really fun podcast. I've been having an absolute blast playing D&D and recording this with these guys. And it's just a whole lot of fun. So if you like spooky monster shit with a bunch of funny antics thrown in there, you're going to love it.
I'm that guy.
So the first 2 episodes are linked below. Episode 1 and episode 2 are down in the description. They dropped. The first episode dropped last week, the week before, and then so now this one. You've been working on this for a while because we noticed that you were playing D&D a lot with this group, and we had no idea that you were recording it.
Yeah, because when Grayson because Grayson was the one who approached me about this. When I would record stuff with Grayson for his YouTube channel, which by the way, more stuff on that is coming out eventually. He mentioned about how badly he wanted to play in D&D. I lament to him how badly I wanted to play D&D, but there's only a certain time of the week where we could play. And then he told me about this campaign that a friend of his is doing. And then it's like, oh yeah, we're also going to try and turn it into a podcast. And I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. Because honestly, the second he said podcast, it just went over my head because I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, I just want to get some dice and roll and play and have a good time. And the fact that people are enjoying this, like when Brandon, you texted me and said you really were having a good time with it, that just made me super happy.
I don't mean to hype you up more, but like I was driving on the road down from Monterey, and I was going to listen to it anyway, so I figured that was a good time to listen to it on this long road. I really enjoyed the first episode. I listened to the whole thing. I wanted to call you after and be like, hey man, I really like that. Now, admittedly, I have never heard of I had never heard of D&D podcast. I have never had even a passing interest in D&D. So like take that as you will. I really enjoyed the show.
I really hope you would like the second episode too.
I did listen to the second episode. I also enjoyed it.
Yay!
But you can find those episodes linked below.
Yeah. So yeah, new episodes are coming out. As of right now, we are dropping those on Wednesday. And if you want to find out more about my character or what I did in my process into creating this version of the Frankenstein monster, head over to Grayson's channel. He has a playlist of talking with a bunch of people, and I'm like the first episode where I'm getting my ass kicked in Ghouls and Ghosts, or Ghosts and Goblins, the really hard Super Nintendo arcade game. And I'm just talking about Mary Frankenstein, the character I play in D and Dark.
I had no idea that episode was there. I'll link that in the description for the after party people.
It's totally fine, bud. But yeah, D and Dark, I'm really excited about it. I'm really happy about it. So yay.
Cool. Who wants to go first of the week?
Sparks pretty much everything I did with you. Okay. So you can, if you want to go, I'll bounce off.
I was about to say, do I want to go? Because I think I have like the most shit. Because I don't know if we've been together since I came back home from Portland.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I went to Portland Retro Gaming Expo. That was really fun.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. You can check that on my Instagram. There's like a bunch of pictures there. I just recently recorded an episode with Donnie G Retro of the Gamers Week podcast for Base Arcade Pause Menu. That episode is becoming up eventually. So I won't talk a whole lot about Portland here. But one thing I am going to talk about really quick is the most surprising purchase that I made. and it's the game I've been playing the most since I came home from Portland, and that's the Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay.
Normally, I don't like card game video games, but I saw this at Portland, and I've been thinking about getting it on my 3DS because the eShop's closing soon. I'm like, you know what? I'll get it physical. I started playing it, and honestly, I'm upset at myself for not getting this game when it came out in the early 2000s, because that game is the perfect way to learn how to actually play the Pokemon trading card game.
I had it.
Full stop. It truly tells you from start to finish how to play a game, how a turn works, and all the little nuances there. And I'm like, this is incredible. This is a great tool. And I even looked up the commercial for the game. The commercial and the advertising straight up says, hey kids, want to learn how to play Pokemon TCG? Buy the video game, learn it there, then own your older brother at Pokemon trading card game and kick his ass. It truly is a great game, and honestly, one of the best trading card games I've ever played. And also, I'm writing a piece about it for GoNintendo.com, so woohoo, look for that in the future. But yeah, that is the most surprising one. I mean, I bought Fire Red as a serotonin buy. I also got a lot of other great games. The games I bought are on my Instagram. And yeah, besides that, and other news in my week, Dean Dark dropped, so woohoo, already gushed about that. I went to Universal Halloween Horror Nights this week.
Bleh.
And it was fun. I had a good time, although I'm a little sad because I walked into the wrong line for one of the mazes, because it was at the very middle of the night, and there's these two mazes right next to each other, Halloween and Scarecrow the Reaping. Fanny and I went to the Halloween maze because we were kind of joking. It's like, man, we really want to have like some good Halloween stuff after we were very disappointed by Halloween Ends. And yeah, we after the movie. Yeah, we did not like that movie. I'm sorry, Brandon.
Did you see the movie that same day?
No, we didn't.
Okay, because I went to see a movie the day that you went to Universal Studios.
I know you did.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we wait super long in line, and then after we get off the maze, it's like, oh man, you know what? That's the same maze they had a few years ago. We should have gone to Scarecrow, because there were some really long lines throughout the night. Even it was really busy even for a Thursday. But the line that the maze that I think was my favorite one, and it was really cool, especially like in the line itself, the experience in the line itself, was the Weekend After Hours Nightmare. We got inside the park around 6 o'clock, so there's an early entry for us, and we went straight to the weekend, which also made this little nerd stupid happy because the line was right next to the opening of Super Nintendo World. I got to I know this sounds dumb, but for me, this was awesome because I got to like look through the crates. I saw the pipe that they're going to use to walk in, and I saw the inside of Peach's castle, and I'm just like squealing like, soon, let me
I'm always
in.
trying to get inside Peach's castle.
What'd you say, Ryan?
He's just over here getting moist. Don't worry.
Don't worry about
Oh my god.
Moist boys over here.
Yeah.
Moist boys.
But yeah. So far, Super Nintendo World looks great. I'm just stupid excited. Obviously, I bought a hat from the store. Every time we saw any type of merch spot, I'm like, I want to go look, even though it's the same thing all around. I don't care.
Maybe it'll be different this time.
Ben pretends he's going for the spooks. He's really just going to scream, "Let me in."
No, that's us in a few weeks when we go for our birthdays, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be outside like, let me in.
Real quickly, Mag is in the chat.
Oh, hey, Mag.
Halloween, Mag.
Happy Halloween, gang. You too, Mag.
Happy Halloween, my friend. But yeah, so the weekend one was interesting because while we were waiting to go inside the maze, it was right next to the Transformers ride. But the cool thing is that they were blasting music from the weekend. And it wasn't just like one or two songs. It was like 4 or 5. And it was in a good loop. And there are times where it would slow down, get you feel the ambiance and get a little creepy. But there's also music videos playing up. And it was just a good vibe, to be perfectly honest. Like it was a long line. It was about a 90-minute wait for us to get into the maze. But the whole time, it's like we're actually enjoying our time. We're like bobbing our heads. There's people dancing. There was a Universal team member who was selling sodas. He was dancing around when he wasn't selling items. Everyone was just having a good time. And even when we got inside the maze, or not the maze, but like before the maze, this really cool, it looked like an album cover with a record coming out of it. but there's a part where the music would like slow down, and then these creepy glowing white eyes would appear on all of the Weeknd's faces. So it's like, remember, you're having a good time now, but it's gonna be scary as shit when you walk inside. And yeah, it definitely got scary. I was telling Fanny, because at a former mazes, like music mazes, especially the Black Sabbath one, I wasn't really scared. I was too busy having fun with the music.
Yeah.
And then we go into the Weeknd one. The Weeknd one was like, oh no, you're gonna get scared now. There are like notes of the music from the album that would be playing, but at the same time, it's like, no, you're here to get scared. And it did its job. It did its job very well. So the Weeknd maze was very fun. I highly enjoyed it. I liked another maze I really enjoyed was the Universal Horror Hotel, which was essentially like a haunted hotel. A bunch of people died. That was really interesting. Universal Creatures Collide. That was a fun one. Other than that, there were a few mazes I missed, unfortunately, due to like the long lines, and it was just, we were getting tired.
Yeah,
we're not spring chickens anymore. But all in all, it was still fun. I had a blast, and I mean, just being back. This is my first time back at Horror Nights, and actually back at Universal since the pandemic, since 2019. So just being back there, I was like, man, I can't wait to. I was like anxious, as much as I was having fun for Horror Nights, I was anxiously waiting for our birthday trip coming up, and I was like, man, I just can't wait to go back with my friends and go on the rides and have fun again, and also blow a lot of money at the Super Nintendo store because I made a list.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Related to that, did any of you see Lupita Nyong'o share that she stood in one night as a scare actor in the Us maze?
Yeah.
And nobody recognized her?
Yeah.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. She like released it now because it's like years later, and she's like, "Yeah, by the way, I was there." And it had like some video clips of her in the maze doing it, and I was like, "Man, that's so good."
That's the Us maze. I remember going through it. That maze messed me up.
Oh yeah, that Us maze was scary, and I'm like, it's fair. Like it could have
dark.
Been her.
Like
it could have been her. I would have never known.
You're running through that thing, absolutely.
Because like you are trying not to focus on her.
No, that's exactly kind of like what Hugh Jackman did a few years ago at Comic-Con. He dressed up as Wolverine. No one recognized him.
No one
they just thought, oh look, random Wolverine.
But the thing is like, because she's got her full face, like visible, and she got right in people's faces with everything. Mm-hmm. You're just expecting scare actors. You're not going to be looking for a celebrity in that scenario.
It's not like The Rock, where like that's The Rock.
Yeah.
It's like if it's dark and like that,
if The Rock, if The Rock stood in at the Us maze, I would recognize him. This huge hulking man.
Yeah.
In a red jumpsuit with scissors.
Tiny scissors in his hands.
Yeah. Speaking of, they actually did the Terror Tram was interesting because it was like half a original Universal story involving this Koodles the Clown character that they created. And then another part of it was it was like Nope and Us but mushed together. Okay. And the cool thing about it is that I still haven't seen Nope yet, and luckily it didn't like spoil anything. Like I knew about like the old Western side attraction or whatever thanks to the trailers. But when you walk into that area, they had people playing the characters of Nope, but they also had a bunch of people from Us running around and like going at you.
That's cool.
There's a crossover I'd watch.
It was definitely a crossover. But yeah, I enjoyed it. My only mistake was I probably should have waited in line for Scarecrow the Reaping instead of Halloween, but oh well.
They've had that Halloween 4 maze for a while. I'm actually really surprised they haven't updated it.
It wasn't Halloween 4. This was Halloween 1978.
Was it this one?
Yeah, this year was Halloween the original.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I'm bummed I missed it, because I haven't been through the original version.
I don't think I have.
Yeah,
where they have the shot where he puts Annie's body on the bed with Judith Meyer's grave.
No.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's like a room you go into. I've seen a couple of images from it, and I'm like, man, that looks cool.
Yeah, it was.
I still lament that I missed the Alien vs Predator maze some years back.
That was a good maze. I had fun with that one.
I lament that I was never going to Universal Haunts when Alice Cooper was doing his mazes.
I was there. That was the first year I ever went. Was when Alice Cooper did his maze.
Yeah. I really love, like, no joke, love the fact that we have all mentioned things that we lament not being able to do, and Ben's like, I did that.
Wait, am I the asshole for saying that? I'm sorry.
No.
Ben, what else in your week?
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, I've been playing Pokemon TCG quite a bit. I'm just getting ready for. I have 2 weeks off coming up from work. I just have one more full week of work, and then I'm free for 2 weeks. Expect a lot of Basement Arcade Posmany to be recorded in those 2 weeks, and this upcoming week, I expect a lot of writing stuff for me because I got some homework, and your boy wants to enjoy his vacation.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, those have been my weeks. Yay,
Sparks, you wanna
Lovely.
go?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. Ryan and I also went to a haunt. We went to Not Scary Farm.
We did.
I won't say a ton about it. It was just nice to go back to a haunt because also had not gone back since the pandemic. So
I love spooky shit. It was great.
yeah, that was really cool. We had some pretty good experiences.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good. 2 friends in our party were afraid of clowns, and clowns became very quickly aware of it.
That was good. Good stuff.
I'll mention this real quick just because I kind of want to just touch on it. I watched all of Roots in these past 2 weeks. The original miniseries. This was a class assignment. Not that I'm putting it down. It was interesting the things that like stand out to me about. So I've always heard of Roots as I've always kind of like extrapolated later slave related media to Roots and thinking like Roots really pushed the envelope and that's why all these things are able to do what they're able to do. That's true. But I was not prepared for how much apologizing for whites there was.
Was
in
it
Roots.
made by white people? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's not like solely.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But it's made it like the show is generated and created by white people working in collaboration with the guy who wrote the book.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Which is also not 100% based in truth. But the thing about it is that like even the most, not all, but most of like the slave masters in it will be like, well, yeah, they're slave masters and that's bad. But I mean, like, they don't want to break up a family. They promise that they'll never sell off anyone in a family kind of thing. Like they're not the worst. They understand what the
they're
worst
righteous
is.
slaves.
We see the worst, but we see the worst in glimpses. The ones that the white characters we usually have to stick around with, they're not so bad. They're not so bad. They kind of get it.
They own people. They own people. They own people. But they're not that bad.
Yeah, it's really that same. God, like nowhere does that hit harder than in like the first chunk. You have Ed Asner as the captain of the ship that's been hired by the British royalty, because this is before America's independence at the time, to go and collect slaves from Africa. And he finds out that's going to be the cargo of his ship. And he's right away like physically uncomfortable with it, and he constantly is protesting to it, and like you can see it weathering on his face and his soul in like some really terrible makeup. That Ed Asner's character is like, I object completely to the idea of slavery. The money is good, but I object completely. This aberration will haunt me.
I'm still gonna do it,
and I'm like,
man,
like it. No way. Like no way was there a captain of a ship who was just sitting there like writhing every single day that he looked at on the ship at how they treated them and went, I can't believe I'm here.
They looked at his coin purse and he's like,
next
time.
Roots is totally worthwhile watching. It did open a lot of doors. I was just not prepared for the amount of like making Whitey look good too that came.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I'll talk about Green Room. We've been gone for a while, so I've had that class where I watch a movie and someone comes from the film to talk to me, and the rest of the class, not just me. That'd be weird.
A single man in a room.
Yeah, all right.
All right, Sparks, if you could please come up here. Everybody leave. Sparks, can you just...
no, better yet, it's like, okay, you're all going to have a turn. So first on the list is Sparks. Sparks, you go first. Everyone else wait outside.
So 2 weeks ago was Green Room. We had the director and writer in. And that was really nice. For those not familiar with Green Room came out about 2015, 2016 with Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart. Very dark. This was a big turn for Patrick Stewart.
I love this movie.
I love this movie too. I was
insane.
really excited when we were watching it, especially because like I was filled with an audience that had never seen it.
Yeah.
And our teacher really loves it. And then the person who was coming in was the director and writer. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great conversation. And it was really cool.
I'm so jealous because that dude also directed a movie called Blue Ruin, and all his movies are like color based.
So we talked about he talked a lot about Blue Ruin, and
I'm so jealous.
He talked about how the guy who plays Worm is the lead from Blue Ruin.
Yeah,
and he had to like smuggle him into the film because he had cast he was like, we literally cast like everywhere we could in all of Portland. Like we saw 300 people and none of them were right to play Worm. And he's like, and if Worm doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. So I flew in my friend and just pretended that like he was actually living in Portland at the time to the studio for the money reasons.
I love it.
So that he could cast him. It's super good. Patrick Stewart talked a little bit about having Sir Patrick Stewart in the film. That constantly what he had to work on is he was very open to like collaborating on the idea of how
Real
to
quick, if people
this.
don't know what Green Room is,
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart plays a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, the leader of a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, it's the most villainous he's ever been in his life. It's insane.
He was at a point in his life where he really wanted to do something very different, and the script had been given to him, and he kind of chased it down.
Mm-hmm.
It was very lucky for them because like they were just a little ways out from not being able to do pre-production, the movie not happening.
Oh man.
But they needed someone to fill the role that Patrick Stewart took on. He constantly had to tell Patrick Stewart to like play the scene quieter, bring it down, bring it in. And he's like, and he'd really get there. And I think it's clearly been working because if you look at a lot of his work lately, he's adapted it to pretty much everything he's done since to be more reserved and quiet. And I thought that was a great point.
He got great direction and took it for us.
He also had some really, excellent. I really love this movie, so I'm trying to find what's useful for this podcast to talk about because I loved everything that I heard in the conversation. That director has such a specific vision of how things need to be that they could not find a location that works, so they had to build the set of that entire place.
The bar is the
whole band thing and everything was built from his design. He sketched it out and then they just made it because he knew the measurements, he knew exactly what it needed to be, how it needed to look because he knew it when he wrote it. Damn. And they just created it. And he's like, that was wild for me because I never worked on a studio movie, so I didn't know they could just make it.
Yeah, I mean, a small town in the middle of the desert. Yeah,
right.
That's crazy because that looks like I thought those was gonna like
everyone did like everybody was thrown. They were like, wait, that was real.
Man.
Yeah, he was like it very specifically needed to look like this.
It is in the middle of the woods,
so all the pieces to work. Brought up some excellent points in how he makes the film. He says he'll show violence, but he doesn't like glorifying death. So if you notice, whenever a character dies on screen, you're not seeing the character in the moment of death. You are looking somewhere else. That's really important to him, that you live in the emotion of the reality of someone dying rather than glorifying it for the camera. But the violence leading up to it or post, he'll show. And I thought that was just an interesting touch. And the last thing I'll touch on is he had a lot of nice words to say about Anton Yelchin, who was very passionate about being on the film. They both came from a punk band background, so they related a lot on that. They had come up with what his favorite desert band was, and it's something that they shared together privately. And he says after he passed, he decided he was never going to say what it was to anyone. It was just going to be between the two of them. We got very emotional as he was talking about him. It was very, very sweet. Things you've already heard, Anton Yelchin was one of the best dudes in the industry for sure, 100%. He's like, I will reiterate what everybody seems to already know, that he was just the best.
Yeah.
Just pure-heartedly the best. And he said that whole cast was, honestly, like the whole cast was very, very good, very supportive. He said it's like one of the best times he's ever had making a movie.
And it's like about the most miserable, worst people alive.
Yes. Like, I really, really like Green Room. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. So that was a thrill for me to get to watch it again and under those circumstances.
Hell yeah, dude.
Last week was Malignant, and we had the set decorator there. And that was super cool too. I won't talk about that one as much as I will tell you that the set decorator made specific choices with designing the look of the house to constantly find mimicking items to put in places. The most notable one that you could spot easily is the scene where she's being told to go back into her regressed memories. If you look behind her, there are two chairs that are the exact same, but they turn like they're opposites, like they're rotated the other way. Mm-hmm. So they parallel each other perfectly. And she specifically like sought those things out to nod to what's going on in the movie. So there's a ton of that, like just tucked into every nook and
like
cranny.
Dual
but that was the set director decision, not
the director.
Juan's.
Yeah.
So that was something she was looking for in all these places because they had to fill that house because that house was a full 2-story set, basically a house, because of that one shot Juan wanted to do is why they had to do it.
Oh yeah.
because he wanted that one overhead shot. They had to make the whole house look like a house,
Hey,
and a functional house.
Good shot.
She
Very
says
good shot.
crazy stuff she's ever
James, we can't do that. Aquaman made $1 billion. You let me do whatever.
Build me this house.
I'm sorry. What movie did I make $1 billion for DC?
Also
Aquaman. What you do,
Conjuring.
bitch?
He can just do whatever he wants.
Malignant was beautiful. A lot of this, Ryan and I are gonna tag team on. So we watched Werewolves Within. You guys might remember.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one with the. That's the one. The one where nobody knows who the werewolf is in the house.
Yes. Technically a game adaptation, even if not you could call it a video game adaptation, but like it's coming from a card game first. Still a game adaptation film, and super good.
Yeah.
Like if you hold it up in the ranks of Clue, A+, A+ game adaptation movie.
Really funny, just
Really funny.
terrific ensemble. Every single like character is a great character actor, and they're just having a ball.
It presents you with a twist, and then like plays a reverse card on the twist. And it's pretty wild how it does it. Really just an incredible cast of super quirky characters.
Mhm.
And very distinct. Really recommend it. Had a great time watching it. Very glad we did it.
Yeah, great, like funny, spooky movie. Like not really scary at all. Very, very fun. Good atmosphere.
I really wanted to see it. I gotta get on that.
Highly recommend. School of Good and Evil, which just came out on Netflix. We also watched that. Really liked it.
Yeah.
Really liked it. Thought there was a lot of cool stuff there. There's some really surprisingly very good humor.
I mean, Paul Feig comes from comedy, and then like
it's just not the kind of film I thought would have those kinds of jokes.
No, that's what I mean. Like I think he's really evolving as what the type of filmmaker he wants to do, because like he does regular comedies, he's done dramas, he did Ghostbusters 2016, which I think is a fine movie, but like him making bigger movies. This is a big budget like big high fantasy movie, and he has the chops to be, I think, a really great blockbuster director.
Realistically, this one should have been in theaters.
This should have been in theaters. It looks the special effects are so good. Like it definitely looks like a Netflix movie. Like
it's like a 2.5 hour movie,
and it's long as shit, and it's full of famous people, and like it's so fun, and like
that makes me really happy.
You go ahead.
That makes me really happy, because I really liked a simple plan or a simple favor or whatever it was called that Paul Feig did a number of years back, and the movie rules. And I really wanted to see him follow that up with another really good movie, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's again, this is like the biggest movie he's ever made. And I think it works mostly the entire way through.
Yeah.
And again, it's long and like it feels like epic, and it's part of like a young adult series. So like if this one does well, he wants to make more of them, which I would love to see. I really love our main characters, like a lot. I think the two leads are really great, and they have a great chemistry together. I am super interested if he makes more of these. I'm fine, but like now that he's made a big fantasy movie, I really want Paul Feig to like push it further, because I think he's got the chops to like do something he like that we didn't know he was capable of yet.
Yeah.
Because he's a great comedic director, but like this is some like oh man, you can make like a big ass movie, bro. Oh shit, like really stepped it up. Like I opened my eyes to Paul Feig a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'm excited for your future, bro.
It knows when to be goofy. It knows when to be dark. I think it balances tone exceptionally well. It's very well paced.
Yeah.
Very well
for a long
paced.
movie, yeah.
For a long fantasy movie, very well paced.
Oddly brutal at times too, for like being a kid, like being like a Harry Potter-esque movie. There's some serious brutality that I'm like, is this PG-13? But like, even if it is or isn't, like it's for kids. Like it's,
and sometimes
like
it's not brutality necessarily in the visual you'll see. It's brutality in the concept of something.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, that's like nightmare fuel to an extent.
It's a type of like spooky kid shit where like, like adults, it's not scary for adults, but like if you're a little young, it might be too spooky for you. Like it's around that range of like, you watch this as a young person and like it molds you. That kind of like scary, like 80s type scary that I really liked. The more I thought about it, the more I really liked it.
Really, really cool, really colorful, really well made. Just really, really pleased with it. I thought it was very good.
Charlize Theron kills it. She's so silly.
Hellraiser, the new one on Hulu. Ryan and I both watched it.
It's a good.
It's good. It's
year.
very good.
Good year for horror, my friends. God.
I think it captures a sense of despair over the situation better than the original. I'm only comparing to the original. I'm not thinking of
any
sequels. And I think it has a pretty good story, really good cast, really good characters. I didn't say before, but our main guy who makes it to the end, he's from Everything's Gonna Be Okay, which I've talked a lot about being on Freeform. He's very good. So it was great to see him there. Some chilling moments, really great design.
Yeah. This movie is like, it's also like 30 minutes longer than the original too. Like it's building more of a mythology. It definitely expands on the lore in a new, different way. Where it almost feels a little more video gamey, where it's like you have to do these steps to get to a thing, whereas the original, it's a little more vague on what actually happens, which I prefer, to be honest. I prefer some of the originals, just mythology building. But in terms of the way this movie's shot, the way it looks, the way it's acted, this movie's awesome. I think it looks so good.
Great score.
Great score. And it's in like, it does this great thing where like it doesn't use the original score all that often until the end, until we start getting more and more Cenobites, and then it's just a full-on score hardcore. I love it. Hellraiser is all about like addiction and pain and pleasure and all that stuff, and like what's the line? And like this movie is such a good example of like what people do, what they will go through. They like our main quote unquote human villain, I think is awesome. I love that like all these Hellraiser movies, like the real villains aren't the Cenobites, they're just people who happen to be in the story. That's what's so fun about Hellraiser. Kind of like a slasher movie, like Cenobites become more prominent when really that's not the point of the story. It's about the people who call the Cenobites.
Right.
But I love this movie. I thought it was great. I'm so happy, man. We got a new we got Prey, we got this, we got so Barbarian and Nope, like all of these
incredible horror. This movie,
this year is so good. I can't believe it.
I won't spoil too much about how the film goes, but they do something where a character is able to kind of like weigh the offer of what the Cenobites have to give, and even in wanting to reject them, the Cenobites are still able to kind of say, oh yeah, well, F you. Here's something for you to think about for the rest of your life. Goodbye. And it's pretty good. It's pretty sharp. I think they do a good job of kind of like catching some characters wise to the Cenobites whole deal. Mm-hmm. Really, really very good. Very good. Liked it. My best friend's exorcism. I liked it. I liked it less than anything we've talked about here so far. It's not anywhere near as funny as the trailers made me think it would be. It's a lot more sincere and dark than it is funny. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. I would wonder if I would think of it a little more highly if I readjusted my expectations of what I was going into. Mm-hmm. That being said, one of the characters gives this incredible performance in a scene where she's playing the girl who's trapped in the possession, trying to say she needs help without the ability to say the words, I need help. And it's really good. It's one of the better of those I've ever seen. So shout outs to that. I think that performance is exceptional. It's just weird because when I forget the actor's name, but when the actor from How I Met Your Father and Glow, who a lot of the comedy in the trailer is based around, well, a lot of the comedy in the movie is based around him too. So whenever he enters, it feels like the movie suddenly kicks into like a fun zone that it doesn't exist in when he's not around. Okay. And so when he's not there, which he's not in a ton of the movie, like a third. So that other 2/3 is not in that same fun zone. So it feels a little jarring, the way it moves around the movie. He's like he's from another movie.
Yeah.
With the way that he functions into the story. But I liked it. There were cool ideas. It's worth a watch. I'll say that. And then I watched The Frighteners for the first time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, really liked it. I'd never seen it before. I thought that was really cool. It's very cool to see like the progressional step for Peter Jackson from Indies to what will be Lord of the Rings after this. I watched the director's cut, and at the beginning they have an intro of Peter Jackson talking about it. He had a very funny note where he's talking about like, we had all these computers for the CGI and it was too much computers. And I was wondering, did we just waste too much money on all these computers? So I was trying to think of what my next project could be to actually make these computers worth having. And that's how we get to fantasy CGI Lord of the Rings. Which I thought was a really funny anecdote from him.
Yeah, the Corridor crew, the special effects people on YouTube, they actually just did a special and they talked about The Frighteners. And like The Frighteners is like one of the first like fully real CG characters of the Grim Reaper coming out of the mirror.
Right, yeah.
Specifically, it's like one of the first times that CG has ever done something like that, and it looks so good. And it was just a couple people on a computer in a workshop.
Yeah.
And like how they revolutionized CG without even knowing that they did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so impressive to think that, like, we needed to make a Grim Reaper, but we couldn't make it real. So we just had to like make it out of a computer. And it's just like how special effects are born. And like, that's just insane.
It is
insane.
You can feel like kind of the jerkiness of trying to figure their way through CGI in a lot of the performances, and like placement in frame that they're trying to kind of figure out, well, if they're not really here, where are they? What is going on here? And you can feel that it's a little clunky in some ways, but only in a way where it feels like they're trying something new, not in a way where it's like it's badly made.
Yeah.
It has its age, obviously, but you can feel them kind of workshopping as they go, which is pretty interesting. I really enjoyed it. I like the story. I think the story is very unique. It's spiritually very in tone with Beetlejuice, Ben. I think you'd like it a lot.
I love The Frighteners. I've seen it many times over the years. It is kind of, it's one of my like Halloween go-tos. I'm really happy you saw it and liked it. I think the movie rules.
Yeah. And then one last movie that we did, because we were able to cram in a lot of spooky movies. Last night we watched Deadstream. If you guys remember, this was the trailer we watched a bit ago. It's a Shudder original. It's the one where the guy it's like he's doing his YouTube live and he's going in a haunted house and it's going wrong. It's incredible for how well it captures being a YouTube live stream. It feels like if you told me we just pulled up a YouTube live stream, if I didn't know about it and I just walked into the room and it said, yeah, we're watching this live stream, I would 100% believe from the way that they write it, the formatting of it. I'd be like, yeah, totally. This is 100% one of those. They did it. They knew it exactly. The way that they have him interacting with the chat throughout the film is just perfect, pitch perfect.
We've seen so many movies or like big budget movies where like people don't know what social media actually is, how people talk to like how influencers actually are and all this stuff. And like, this movie is made for like $7. It's made by like literally 3 people. Like, and it shows. It's really just one guy on screen the entire movie.
Yeah.
They know exactly. They are such internet people. Like, it's insane. Like, this is the most authentic like YouTube movie, like streaming, whatever you want to call it, ever made. Until a big budget company makes something like this will be the gold standard.
It's very interesting because this was a film where I'm like, this has just changed movies. Like, honestly, I don't mean to like, that's too broad of a statement and too big for the independent film Deadstream. But what I mean is that film has never successfully made the crossover, I think, in blurring the line of format between a film in media, something you'd watch on your TV on purpose, and something that's created on social media.
Yeah.
And this blurs that line so incredibly that I'm like, this almost doesn't obey 3-act structure. It does, but it's very, very thin. It's so well crafted that it is changing the idea of what we can do with the format.
You're not wrong the way you say that, because like when you think of the Blair Witch, like the Blair Witch is also a low budget movie that was doing something new, and that changed horror movies for that generation, right? Like, this is the first time we've had something like this where it's like, yo, this is like a live stream movie. We've had like the horror movies where like they're on Zooms and stuff, but that's not what this is. This is just a dude live streaming, and it's all one cut. Like, it is so impressive how many long takes this guy has to do. It's like a theater play. It's just one guy streaming,
and all the lighting and everything and the equipment for the visuals of the camera all feels in tone of like what a guy going in creating a live stream would feel like, what it would look like,
mounted stuff,
how it's going,
all that shit.
Yeah. It's just very impressive. I will give I think it's a good reference point of how well they captured the internet chat and everything, is that you're pretty deep into the movie. The ghost of one of the ladies has shown up, and we haven't seen her for a while, but then you'll just get someone popping up when he's checking the chat. There will be one comment that just pops up and it's like, yo, anybody still think that ghost was hot? Just be focused on that. Like, other horrifying shit has been happening, and it'll be like, yo, but like, where's she at?
Because like when you have a live stream, like it shows like he has a live stream of like 3 million people, right? The chat is just nonsense. it's just like, yo, was that ghost hot? Or like, yo, are you here, Johnny? What's up, Ben? Like, just the most insane, like, real life comment stuff that just happens.
Somebody sent me $50. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, like it's in the trailer, but someone's asking me, hey, are you still with that girl? And he's like, am I still with that? No, we're talking about ghosts. What are you talking about? Like, it's so authentic. And there's also, like, my final thoughts on it, like, there is like an arc with the character, and like it's not in the trailers, but like we're following a dude who's done some shit, and like he feels bad about it, and there's a whole arc of his character with the live stream, and I'm like, and that didn't even need to be part of it, and it just makes it even better.
And he feels authentically crafted as like a YouTube social media type influencer personality, very, very true to the way that he like acknowledges and recognizes his own marketability in his stream and what he's there to do and how he's there to continue followers, but in acknowledging it is like, isn't that more authentic? Ha 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 ha.
That I'm acknowledging that I'm a racist.
And then his authenticism comes into question in the film when things are really actually happening to him. Really, really good. Really, really
like
good.
Such a surprise. Again, like, you know, like Paranormal Activity was made for like $5,000. Like this movie was made for nothing. It was made by like a husband and wife team and their friends. Like this feels like I'm so excited for their future of like, man, what are they gonna do next? Like this is such a genius idea.
And it's so I think the other thing that's so cool about it is because like it'd be easy to lump this into the found footage genre, and I'm like, I don't think you can do that. You have to keep it into this live stream genre
different.
Because an important difference is that it's continuous.
It's not found footage, it's live.
once like he has an intro that he does at his home, and then the live stream starts and it doesn't stop until it's over. So you are just in time with him the whole time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's and yeah, Shudder original. Like it's
obviously they're able to cut from the different cameras he set up, so like it's not like it's a one take situation, but the film structure is designed as one continuous narrative that is unbroken.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Love it. Love Halloween. Love all these movies.
That's all I have to say. Ryan might have some other things.
Nothing that I really like want to talk about in depth. Like I've been playing a lot of Star Wars games on the PC with mods, and that's just like, hey, like there's this one mod for Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and it's called Star Wars Movie Duels, and it's basically just like, hey, if there's ever been a Star Wars character that's been in a video game, we have it here. We have its model. Every single lightsaber you've ever wanted, it's all here. You want to build your perfect lightsaber? It's all here. You want to duel anybody on any stage on any planet that Star Wars has ever had in a video game, because that's how assets work. You just plug and place and stuff like that on PC. That's what it is. So it has every character, every place, every model, all that good stuff. There's like missions where you're like, oh, what if you want to play as Palpatine and he actually kills Yoda? What would happen in the Senate? Stuff like that. So like just really great stuff. And the Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy combat, which is 20 years old at this point, is still the best lightsaber combat we've ever gotten in a video game. In terms of being like fighting multiple people and multiplayer shit. So like it's just fun. Just like I spent hours just to be like, what if Kylo Ren beat Rey? Like I did that for hours, and it's just fun to play. And when you have like there's also mods for Star Wars Battlefront 2. So you know you play that game, you have dozens of characters. What if there was an Ultimate Apocalypse mod where you had hundreds of characters on screen? So the Battle of Geonosis feels like the Battle of Geonosis, and luckily my PC is good enough so a 20-year-old game runs decent when there's 400 people on screen. And that's I just spent a lot of time in Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Bring back Mara Jade.
All right.
It's Luke's wife. She was an assassin for the Emperor, and they fell in love.
Yeah. Okay, so my turn. I have quite a bit, so we'll try to run through it as quickly as I can. Let's start with Black Adam, though. I watched it. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. Now,
well, here's the thing.
Wait. I know you liked it.
No, I liked it. Okay, here's the thing. I agree with all of you. I watched the whole thing. You are absolutely correct. I don't even have a butt to that. Yeah, yes. Watch their review. They're right. There were jokes that I laughed at. I liked the brutality of it. I think there's a really solid like 20 minutes, honestly. Like I think there's like a really solid 20 minutes where I'm like, heck yeah, this is the movie I want. And then that's it. I think the action is really good. Like I said, I think the brutality that The Rock brings as Black Adam is good. I was surprised at how many skeletons we saw in this movie. And I really like the visual effects. Just how everything's designed, how Dr. Fate uses his powers, how Cyclone uses her powers. I thought that was excellent. And Pierce Brosnan, I loved Pierce Brosnan. There is a note though. I don't know why this just popped into my head, but Ben, you asked Ryan and Sparks whether or not the helm of Naboo was from a different planet, like they state in this movie, and that's really weird because it's not.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was talking about with a friend of mine because I was like, the Helm of Nabu is not from another planet; it's an Earth-bound thing. So I don't know why they said it was from.
So Nabu, real quickly, Doctor Fate is possessed by Nabu. Sorry, not Doctor Fate. Kent Nelson is possessed by Nabu, who is the Lord of Order and Chaos. Maybe just Lord of Order. And so like, what's weird about this version of Doctor Fate, which I figured they would because you cast Pierce Brosnan, you want to see his face. Kent Nelson doesn't take off his helmet. That he is possessed by Dr. Fate. There is no Kent Nelson until Dr. Fate lets that host go.
Yeah.
And there is kind of a line in the movie like, oh yeah, he's possessed by the Helm of Nabu or whatever. And like that's not really present in the movie.
Nope.
There's one moment where Pierce Brosnan walks on set in a robe, and I just clapped. I was like, "Bravo, sir, rocket!" I liked Pierce Brosnan a lot in the movie, and not the best portrayal of Dr. Fate, but I was happy to have it personally. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I really agree with what you guys said. It's kind of whatever. It's kind of nothing. It just kind of walks a line of being an enjoyable superhero movie, while not being as good as it really should be. It feels to me like I was watching. I was like, this feels close to a better movie. Like they rubbed up against a better movie and said nah, but I kind of wish they had gone like yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about Black Adam.
It's fine.
I watched Halloween 5, which was very boring. I didn't care for it at all. I liked Halloween 4. I talked about it last year when I watched it. I liked the ending of that one specifically. I was happy to see this kind of like bounce off the ending of the last one, but it's just kind of boring. I spent most of the time bored out of my mind. We haven't even done the cult stuff yet, although it's set up in this movie with the man in black just walking around the town doing whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Well, I'm at 6 now, so we'll see what happens at the end of this franchise. I watched Jennifer's Body for the first time. Never seen it before. Megan Fox, Amanda Seyfried, really liked it. Amanda Seyfried is great. Megan Fox is great. I'm kind of preaching to the choir. I'm late to this movie. I'm late to the resurgence that this movie had in recent years. But yeah, I dug it. It's a lot of fun. I love Megan Fox in it. Cool, gnarly kills. Adam Brody is in it. Chris Pratt is in it, which is weird.
Yeah.
They make Adam Brody into this like kind of like cool guy rocker in the beginning, and I'm like, you can't. I'm sorry, Adam Brody. You're the cute nerd. You're not the cool guy rocker. I'm sorry.
He's an actor. He could be anything he wants.
He's the cute nerd.
That's for real.
It's true.
So yeah, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I'm glad I finally watched it. Okay. I watched Tales of the Jedi. So this is the sixth episode animated series from Filoni.
That came out.
Yeah, it came out this week. I thought the Ahsoka episodes were fine. Like, there's some good. There's you know what? There's a really good Ahsoka episode. It's the middle one. It's her training against the clones and how she was kind of like prepared when Order 66 happened. If you remember from the Siege of Mandalore. And it's kind of like strengthens the relationship with Anakin and then strengthens the relationship with the clones. It's good. I really like that one. I kind of wish the other two were of that quality. There is talks about the third one having retconned a queer character. That's unfortunate. I don't even think it was kind of worth it personally. The Inquisitor is cool though. The Inquisitor in that third episode is really cool. But the Dooku ones I really liked. I thought those were really good. Dooku is a character that I've always been really confused by. Because I don't know where he places with Master Sifo-Dyas. Like, did he pretend to be a Sifo-Dyas and did the clone thing? Did he kill Sifo-Dyas after Sifo-Dyas did the clones? Why did Sifo-Dyas do the clones?
I don't think George has the answers either, bro.
I'm sure someone has answered those questions. I doubt it was George.
Isn't there a Dooku book?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Dooku Lost book has a lot of the answers to those questions about his relationship with Sifo-Dyas.
So the first episode is where he's training Qui-Gon. He's training Qui-Gon as a Padawan. I like that. What I realized early on though is that it is Count Dooku leading to what happened, to why he decided to become a Sith Lord, why he decided to side with the Separatists. This first episode is like he goes to this town to rescue the senator's son, and they're like, and Qui-Gon is like, okay, we did the mission, master, let's go. And Count Dooku's like, why did you kidnap your own senator's son? And talks about like how the senator has betrayed the planet and taken money from corporations, and going into what the corruption of the Senate that we know from the prequels that is all about what Palpatine was playing off of. And you see Dooku start to be like, okay, something's really wrong. And then that goes into the next episode where he starts to lose faith in the Jedi Order because of a mission he does with Mace Windu. Then the third episode is set before and after Phantom Menace. Really good. Highly recommend. Just those 3 episodes. If you don't want to watch all 6 episodes, this short, you can get through it in like an hour, less. Just watch the Dooku episodes because I think there's a lot of value there, and I really like them.
I've also heard from the internets that half that show is pretty cool.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, we talked about it when we found out that those would be the 2 stories. Ahsoka, how much more do I really want to learn about Ahsoka that I don't already know, especially in this time period? I don't care to see her mom, her as a baby.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, those parts of her story can be interesting, but not in this short of a format.
Mm.
Sure. Like you're
not really fleshing it out.
You're not illuminating a lot of things we don't know about her by it being that short.
Yeah, there's someone made an interesting comment that I saw, kind of about that. So like in the end of that episode, of the first episode, when the priestess says Ahsoka's Jedi, her parents have like a moment of, oh shit, like they don't want her kid to be a Jedi. And I kind of really wish the short was about that, how they don't want Ahsoka to be taken by the Jedi. And then someone made a really cool comment about, like, I wonder what happened to how the parents of the Jedi who were taken felt about Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, they now lost their child again. And I'm like, that's a short.
That's how you build a rebellion right there.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, there's a still kind of a... Star Wars has, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too hard. Star Wars has a very loose concept of like the way we employ children will to bend to power and to be weapons for our designed future. And you can see it in the Jedi, you can see it in the clones, you can see it in the stormtroopers, and you can see it specifically in the First Order with the actual literal abduction of the children into the stormtrooper army. Mm-hmm. So they're always playing on the rim of that concept.
Andor will touch it. Well, Andor's the only show will touch anything.
Yeah. But they as of yet are not diving into like wholesale, and even if they are, they're not diving into it for like our main forces, right? Like we're not getting a whole lot about how the Empire or the First Order went about abducting children and what that meant and who instilled that and who okayed it and how people reacted to it. We're not going into too much. We're starting to about how the Jedi took children and how they kind of started to see them as like, space cops and how that became less a noble thing for a child to go do as we got closer and closer to the prequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. Just an interesting idea of Star Wars in general that should be explored. I was also going to say that I feel like the Ahsoka episodes are also kind of lacking because I think, honestly, genuinely, their only reason for existence is they're there for an audience that didn't watch Clone Wars and didn't watch Rebels, but watch Mandalorian and they want to watch the Ahsoka show. And they're like, get to know Ahsoka. Here's a quick down and dirty, get to know Ahsoka. If you like it, go watch Clone Wars. But we need you to like this character a little more.
That makes sense.
It's for the audience that just got to know her from Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's smart.
It's great to hear Ashley Eckstein back as Ahsoka, though. I was happy about that.
I'm sure it is.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. I guess, okay, Star Trek Lower Decks. Star Trek Lower Decks finished its 3rd season this week. I did not do a Fake Nerds Watch the Cookie, if you guys hadn't known. Shit in my life went to shit, so we just decided to not do it this week, this go around. But I do want to talk a bit about it now, because I thought it was excellent. I think it's the best season of that show so far. They're constantly improving in the writing and the animation. And it's if Strange New Worlds didn't exist, it would still be the best Star Trek show on the air right now. But because Strange New Worlds exists, it is unfortunately the second. But that's good company to be in because it's a great show, and the characters are evolving in a really natural way. There's payoffs. There's a little bit of serialization. There's payoffs that were set up in the first season going into this season, and then payoff, vice versa. The end of the season, not to spoil what happened, the end of the season, because I think Sparks is going to watch it soon because of the Strange New Worlds crossover.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the season is really cool, especially if you live in California. So the idea is that the series takes place on a California class starship called the Cerritos, and it's what the California class starship is. The entire line is built for support. It's built for second contacts. It's built for basically anything that the hero ships, the Titan, the Enterprise, any like the higher class ships are too busy to do. We send a California class ship, and the show never loses sight of that, especially when like major events start happening to them. They're still the support ship. Like it's not all of a sudden they're becoming like the Enterprise. They're the Enterprise of support ships.
I love that. That is awesome. I'm gonna start watching the show eventually, I promise. But like the fact that like they don't do the thing where like, oh, like the smaller guys have to rise up and become the heroes. Like they can just stay the side characters, and they're still important. That is fantastic.
Yeah, and so like so something happens where the Cerritos is in trouble, and in order to save them, all of the California class ships showed up. And full disclosure, I did not know the Cerritos was a city. Every California class ship is named after a city in California. So there's the Inglewood, the West Covina, the San Diego, the San Francisco, the Burbank, the Oakland.
Canon, baby.
And like,
honestly, Brandon, have you never heard of the Cerritos Auto Square?
No, I haven't. So the idea is like, let me finish. There's also the like the San Clemente. Where do I live? I live in the San Fernando Valley. Sherman Oaks. Oh. The Sherman Oaks. And so when like those names started coming up, I was honestly cackling. I thought it's the best joke. It's wonderful. There's so many California class ships, and I'm like, hell yeah.
That's really funny.
TikTok spoiled that for me, and I watched it. And well, I mean, I was scrolling through TikTok, and it had just the scene where all the California class ships were coming out, and well, one of my cats is going crazy right now. Bloody hell. Yeah, all the California ships come out, and they're starting to say it's the Inglewood, the San Diego, this all these different cities. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's like kind of about California while also being about Star Trek. It's wonderful. Great season of the show. I love it. I'm so happy it had another solid season. I can't wait for the fourth.
It's so awesome.
Let's talk about some audio stuff. Avantasia came out with a new album. I forgot the name of it. Something about Moonflower Society.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Really like that. I especially like the first 5 tracks. I think the first 5 tracks are great. Especially the self-titled one, Moonflower Society. I think that track rules.
Mm-hmm.
I love Avantasia. I've mentioned my love of Avantasia before on the show. They're a great band, side project. Happy to get another album because I never know when it's coming. They'll just be like, yeah, we might retire after this one, and then a new album comes out a couple years later. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. If we're talking about music, I'll bring up that Carly Rae Jepsen also put out a new album, and it's a radical. So did Taylor Swift, but I don't care as much.
But they dropped at the same time, and it was like, who's the real music aficionado?
Unfortunately, Taylor Swift is going to have, in the first time in like music history, all top 10s on the top 10 Billboard. Yeah. So every song in the top 10 is going to be hers. So sorry, Carly, I'm listening, but you're not making the money. Sorry, Carly.
I think the last couple tracks, I forgot how many specifically, didn't like as much. I think the album is front loaded with some really good tracks. But yeah, all in all, happy to get another album from Avantasia. So happy about it. I'm a Whovian again. It happened. I watched the Doctor Who movie that I've seen before. I own it. I love it. I'm talked before about my interest in the 8th Doctor. I really like him, Paul McGann. So I saw a spoiler for this for the latest episode of Doctor Who, and I was like, oh shit. I want some Paul McGann in my life. So I rewatched the movie he is introduced in. That's a pretty good movie. It's actually kind of wild how like they pulled a decent Doctor Who movie out of their ass from a production company that had no idea what Doctor Who was.
Eric Roberts.
Yeah. And Paul McGann is a really good doctor. He like shows up. Sylvester McCoy regenerates into a fully formed character. Paul McGann knew exactly the kind of doctor he wanted to be from the moment he walked on set. And it's really a shame that show never happened. He was meant to get a show and it didn't happen. But he has a bunch of audio adventures, many of which I haven't listened to before. And I've listened to a few here and there. One specifically I like a lot. Spark shared it with me, An Earthly Child, where he goes to meet his granddaughter again. I noticed on Spotify, Big Finish has a lot of their library on Spotify. You can just listen to it. The first 5 or 6 Paul McGann audio adventures are there. So I listened to the first 3 from his run. Brilliant. Love Paul McGann. Love Doctor Who. He's introduced to a new woman named Charlie. And they go off on adventures together. The 3 I listened to were the Storm Warning, where he goes on a Zeppelin that meets an alien ship, and he has to figure out how to stop this from happening. He meets Charlie, which is his new companion, and then I listened audio plays. It's their theater for the mind. Mm-hmm. I watched Sword of Orion, where the Doctor finds himself on a spaceship, and there's a human android war in the future, and the androids want to recruit the Cybermen, who at this point should be extinct, into their war against the humans. And the Doctor finds out that the Cybermen are not as extinct as he assumed that they were, and has to figure out how to defeat these new Cybermen. That was cool. Have you guys ever seen like an old Cyberman? They look insane. And then the Stones of Venice. I finished today, actually. Stones of Venice is he shows up in the 23rd century Venice, which is sinking, and it's not supposed to. So he tries to figure out why an entire city is sinking while also dealing with like magic cults and things. And Paul McGann's a really fun doctor. I like him a lot. One of the things that I really like about him is how completely and utterly he just does not care about the situation he's in. He's always just like, I've already got this figured out. You guys are boring me. And he's whip smart and he talks really fast, and he's got this really interesting sense that I think maybe all classic Doctor Who's doctors had it, but I don't know for sure. Where he like can look at a person and he just instinctively knows their entire future. I think that's kind of fun to play with. And then he's always distracted, and so like they're running in the first episode of Stones of Venice, in the first track of Stones of Venice, it starts in media res, and they're running away from like laser fire, and Charlie's like, I can't believe you got me into this doctor, and the doctor's standing there, like, I'm sorry, what were you saying? We should go to Venice after this. Just running from laser fire, and I was like, this is fun.
It's a Tuesday.
I liked listening to these Doctor Who audio adventures. I really like Paul McGann, and I watched a couple of Doctor Who episodes for Peter Capaldi. I'm going to catch up.
Hell yeah.
We
will eventually also catch up.
We are also going to catch up, yes.
That is my week.
Great.
Hey, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're not watching Andor, you're a fool. You're a fool.
Yes.
We will be fake nerds watching the next arc, but I just need to let everyone know Andor, now that other shows are over, Andor is the best show on TV. This latest episode rocked my world.
I haven't seen it.
And there's a character who shows up that you will not effing believe it. You will not believe it. It's insane.
I haven't caught up on the latest arc of Andor yet, but now I know to buckle up and get ready.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Same with our audience. Shall we go into our bread and butter?
Please, I'm hungry.
I got some chocolate for you if you want it.
No, I'm okay. I actually ate a lot of pie tonight.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah,
I ate more. No joke, y'all. I ate more pie tonight than I have maybe in my entire life. That's because I don't eat pie. So today was a lot.
All right. So, Grayson's in the chat.
Yes,
Hi,
he
Grayson.
is. Right when you guys mentioned Andor, Grayson's all like, Andor is absolutely one of my favorites, and I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, Grayson. Hell yeah.
Very cool. So let's go into some bad news.
Oh shit!
All right.
Leslie Jordan passed away at the age of 67. If you don't know who he is, he's a wonderful comedian. I saw him in Boston Legal, where he has a fun story where he kills his mother with a skillet. He's brilliant, sorely missed.
I only know him from when I grew up watching Will and Grace with my mom. I'm not super familiar, but seemed like a lovely person.
Yeah.
I unfortunately was not aware of this actor. I was not aware of this comedian at all until the day he died. And I mean, I know there are fans of him, and I'm bummed for them.
Yeah. And then Jules Bass from Rankin Bass, the stop motion animated shorts, passed away this week at the age of 87. Look, guys, I'm sure our audience knows about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus. There's a few Santa Claus shorts. Love those.
Importantly, also, like, a lot of other animation work, like, those are probably the most famous. It's easy to refer because it's called the Rankin Bass animation division, like all those stop motion, what Brandon's mentioning above. But Jules was also involved was also involved in creating the Hobbit animated picture.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings.
Tons of all these
that's the Ralph Bakshi number. That's different.
all of these kinds of things, like, very, very influential animator outside of the Disney bubble for the time period that he was in the industry. Super important. Sorry. She's wonderful. I love her animated Rankin Bass's animated shorts. The Christmas specials will live forever in eternity as just some of the most iconic things. It's a go-to. Disney Plus is coming out with their own in that vein, that design and style stop motion animation holiday special this year.
Oh, that's cool. I'm into that.
So, like, that is everlasting. That idea that is tied to, like, a form of special holiday time thing is iconic.
Elf, the beginning of Elf references it heavily.
Yes, very important.
No, it's a bummer the animator passed away, because I remember for a good 3 or 4 years straight, it was a tradition in my house while my parents were prepping the Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve. My brother and I, we would try to help, and then when my parents shoot us away, we would go to turn on ABC Family, because it was just a marathon of all the Rankin Bass films and shorts, like the one with Heat Misers. I forgot which one that's called, but you got Santa Claus is coming to town, Rudolph, Happy New Year, Rudolph. That was one of my favorites.
Mr. White Christmas. I'm Mr. Snow.
I loved that one.
It's Frosty and Rudolph Christmas in July.
Yep, that one.
Heat Miser and Snow Miser one. Yeah.
I remember watching one specifically for years, and it's Frosty and his family are going to die when the last firework goes up, and, like, Rudolph is trying to stop it.
That's Christmas in July.
That's Christmas in July.
Yeah, I remember that scene specifically.
Yeah, and we would just watch those the whole day until family members came over, and then we did our Christmas Eve traditions. And it was like, during the day, it was either we rush out for Christmas shopping, or we just stay home and try to help our parents with the Christmas dinner preparations, or we would just watch all those classic Christmas films throughout the whole day.
To this day, I cannot picture Little Drummer Boy when I hear the song Little Drummer Boy,
without the little
and not
guy.
See the little Rankin Bass figure of Little Drummer Boy.
It's just too iconic. Even when they say Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I always think of the Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't care what else is on that screen.
Rankin passed away in 2014, so she was the last of the old guard.
Yeah.
She will be missed. Wonderful legacy. Iconic, will live.
Oh, yeah. They kind of are like, they are the Christmas look for many generations.
Yeah.
So, like,
oh yeah.
All right. So last week, the rest is smattered into the rest. But Percy Jackson, Sparks. Percy Jackson is coming out with a new book. Well, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Chalice of the Gods.
Yeah. So this Percy's been in stuff. It's not like we haven't had Percy around after the last of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books came out. There was a 5-book series that followed up that Percy was heavily present as a character, and even if not a main character, and I think except in one, is he a main character. And he's had some short story appearances, a couple of references in some other pieces of the Riordan universe, because that's a very big universe at this point, very sprawling and everything. But this is a true sequel follow-up, focused entirely on Percy and Annabeth and Grover. And in the vein of what those stories were. It is coming after the Heroes of Olympus series, which makes total sense because Heroes of Olympus picked up very quickly after the events of Percy Jackson 5, so it'd be weird if they were trying to squeeze something in there. So we're further along, and this is Percy heading up into the real world,
Into the unknown.
yeah, into the college life. This is big. I'm very excited. Riordan. So the fun thing is Riordan said like he had been thinking, because of the push for the live action show, a way to like sweeten the pot with Disney was he's like, I'll tell them I'll write a new book. I'll make some new Percy Jackson books they can sell. So I'll come up with some ideas for that. And so he started generating ideas, and then they were like, no, we just want to make the show. And he was like, oh, okay.
But I'm writing the book.
Well, don't worry about it then. And he had like his other projects that he's been working on and everything. And then they were like, hey, how do you want to promote with the show? Do you want to release something to go with tie in with the show's release?
Well,
He's like, now that you mention it, that's an idea. So it's not clear. He said that he's generated a few ideas for stuff to happen here. This was one he really was passionate about. He is at this moment like, I don't know if I'll do another Percy, like I don't know that there's going to be a Percy Jackson 7, a Percy Jackson 8, that kind of thing. Like there's a lot of other things he's wanting to do right now, but this is he's very excited about this. So I'm very excited.
The next
about
chapter.
This.
That's
Riordan's universe is exceptional. I think he's truly one of the best young adult authors that we have, both because I think he really captures the voice for speaking to the youth very well. I think that he is constantly trying to be very progressive and inclusive and changing the way that the characters interact with the world to reflect the confusion of what young adults will be facing in the world today. And that he constantly is instilling that. He's got the other book coming out soon that's focused on Nico, who's a queer character. And we've had other main characters who have been trans in their identity. Because they're literally like a child of Loki. And so that's how he adapts the trans narrative, but it's very important to those characters that they constantly are fluctuating between genders.
Yeah.
Riordan's incredibly great at this, and I think he's a truly talented author. And one of my favorite things that I'll love him to death forever for is that he's expanded his universe to be like, I'd really love for something to be done about this, but with Mandarin mythology or he did the Egyptian. He did the Greek, Egyptian, Roman, and Norse.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's kind of been his wheelhouse. But anything that went beyond that, once he got to let's do something like this, but with Mandarin. Let's do something like this with Indian. Let's do something with this with all these different mythologies. He's outsourced to people who are familiar with those mythologies, who are part of that background, who that's culturally relevant to do these stories. And he said, I will support you. I want you to create this story.
Love it.
And I think that's exceptional.
That's a king.
So this book will be out September 26th, 2023.
Which you can kind of guess right now, that's their intended release date for the Percy Jackson show.
Yeah.
Less than a year? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Conjuring 4 was announced. The sequel to The Devil Made Me Do It is happening. David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who wrote the second and third film, will return to write this film. He also wrote Aquaman. I didn't know that.
James Wan guy. Okay, all right.
Yeah. He wrote the third film, though.
So this could go either way.
But also it was a different director. And so I won't give him full, because a good director can turn a bad script into a good script. So like
right now we don't know exactly who's directing, but it is pointing to the guy who now runs The Conjuring, who did Conjuring 3, The Nun, might also do this one. And I hope that's not the case. I hope they get a different director.
Is he also the guy who did La Llorona?
He is. I hate that movie. The movie's bad.
La Llorona. Born.
So, Silent Hill happened. There's some Silent Hill stuff. I assume you guys talked on the quarterly.
A little bit.
We did a little.
Yeah. They announced like 5 games, which is Konami has not touched Silent Hill outside of pachinko machines or any video game in the past decade, and they just announced a plethora of like 5 games and then stuff we can talk about on this podcast.
A movie the third movie technically, but it will be a sequel to the first.
Right.
That's not even the most important part, though.
Return to Silent Hill will be directed by Christoph Gans, who directed the first film.
Yeah.
And could not direct the sequel.
This is a wild get. This is so unexpected. I like we talked about it. Like we talked about all the video game movies. Like I personally think Silent Hill. I mean, maybe Sonic, stuff like that. But like in terms of being a video game adaptation, Silent Hill is the best video game adaptation ever made. That is, you want to know what the game is like. This is it. This is it to a T. It is literally it. The people who made the music for the game made the music for the movie. It's that into it.
It's absolutely in the upper echelon. I'm really glad that we watched it last year and did our whole reappraisal, because Silent Hill had faded. I remembered liking it, but it had faded into my memory. Like, I guess it was bad, because most people talk about it like it was bad. And then we watched it, and I'm like, swings all the way back up to like, this is one of the best video game movies. Yeah. This is wild.
I think even if maybe you don't like the movie, the direction of the movie is so good. Yes. It is insane. It is for being a Silent Hill movie, it's almost flawless. So like having this European ass director come back to make another goofy ass Silent Hill movie, it's the best possible outcome, because you could have got some like no name Brett Ratner to do it, and like no, they got a guy who actually loves the shit, and I'm so thrilled.
Do you think it's possible they ignore the sequel and just bring Sean Bean back and pick up the story?
Yes,
they are. They are. Yeah, they said specifically they are ignoring the sequel that exists already and making this a direct sequel to the first film.
Yeah, if you watch the presentation, they talk about Sean Bean and how it's going to be a different perspective. And Jon Snow is in that second movie, and I don't think he'll show up for this third movie. Sorry, Jon Snow.
So it's going to be an adaptation of Silent Hill 2. Christoph Gans wanted to do the sequel originally to Silent Hill because he directed the first film, and he really wanted to do it but couldn't due to something that actually didn't happen. So that's why he didn't come back to direct this one. This feels like him being like, I should have always done the sequel. Now I'm going to finally do it.
Yeah.
God, that's so like, all the games can be bad. Like, this is incredible news.
Yeah, this is.
I hope they aren't.
Truly unexpected news. Again, a lot of those games are being outsourced to other developers. So like, I already have more faith in Konami. So like, just like being in the Silent Hill world for the last 2 weeks has been like, oh man, it's back, baby. Movies and games.
Guys, I'm just excited to go with you in the year of our Lord 2024 to the movie theater and see a Silent Hill sequel.
God, pray it doesn't go straight to streaming services. Hopefully it just stays in theaters. That'd be so great.
I think with all the popularity that Silent Hill has been getting now with the announcement, the remake of the game and this new film, I'm pretty sure it's going to go to theaters.
That's probably a good point, because that Silent Hill 2 remake is going to be huge.
I also think horror movies have been hitting harder at the box office this year than ever before. So I think there's a lot of faith in putting horror movies into the box office.
Hell yeah!
Mm-hmm. I do believe, and I could be adding this into my memory. I do believe they said exclusively in theaters.
Oh, I think they did, but I'm just like, it's still far enough away where something shitty can happen, and like, oh, now it's just coming straight to Hulu or something. And I would just, if you could be in the theater, I would just, let's keep it that way.
Yeah. They showed some concept art online. Check it out. It looks pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. I Silent Hill is a very unique, gross place, and I would love to return to it on the big screen.
Yeah. All right. Some quick stuff from this week. Saw X. Socks. I hope. Tobin Bell is coming back. Surprise, surprise. Guy died in the third Saw movie, and he's still coming back for these movies.
Yeah, he's been dead for a decade, but they keep bringing him back. That's fine. Like, honestly, I have no problem with it. Like, I am now officially like done with Saw. Like, I used to like it, and then the movies got bad, and they got good, and the bad. It's like, I'm just over it now. So like, if it's good, that's cool. But like, I'm not. Wow, Jigsaw's coming back in a Saw movie. I'm so shocked.
I think the reason why they did this because of Spiral. I think Spiral really missed a mark in not just being like, yeah, Tobin Bell's voice is a voice synthesizer now, like like they do with Ghostface. Like, yeah. I really felt like they should have just been like, yeah, it's that we can just use his voice for everything now. And the fact that they didn't do that, I think really hurt that franchise.
Yeah, and it being Saw 10 now, like X, that's like the perfect, like, it's whether or not it's the end of the trilogy, X is like, it's the big one. It's we're going to space.
Oh my God, Saw in space.
Jigsaw in space, hell yeah.
Venom 3. Kelly Marcel will step into the director's chair for this film. She was the writer on the previous 2 films, so this will be her directorial debut.
That's great. That's cool. We like that second Venom movie. Like, I wouldn't say the script is necessarily the reason. I think a lot of Andy Serkis brought a lot to that movie.
I definitely don't like the script for the first one.
Absolutely. So like, I'm not like super stoked, but I am stoked that a director is being giving it first time, like, to try something.
Sure.
So like, it's even though it is her first time directing, she wrote the movie, so she knows the material inside and out for this specific character. Yeah. So maybe that can translate, and she'll be a big time director. Who knows?
Yeah.
Everyone's got to start somewhere, and like Venom,
that's very true.
It could be worse than starting with Venom.
That is very true.
Like, if this were like her first time and she's directing the next Avengers movie, then I'd be like, what the hell? But it's Venom 3, so I don't care as much.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, I was kind of bummed that Andy Serkis isn't coming back, because I did enjoy Carnage quite a bit. But at the same time, right, exactly like you said, someone's got to start somewhere, and this is the writer of the first 2 films, so cool.
Yeah. Null. It's time for Null.
Do you really want one of these Venom movies?
You know what? I do, because I don't want to see what's the guy who becomes the dude at the end of the movie who's become another gloopy cop, another gloopy cop.
His name's Toxin.
Yeah, I don't want to see that again. I've seen it 3 times.
No, I am in agreement with you. I don't want just like another symbiote, but like, this is a case where like Noel is so big, and to do it in a Venom movie, you really have to scale that shit down, like hardcore. Because I don't think they're going to do giant dragons invading the world when Venom is like the only hero in the world. Well, Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's not going to show up.
No, he's Morbius and Vulture could show up. And Craven.
You're asking for
no. We need to cancel this movie.
You're asking for Blade 3. I'm telling you.
No, yeah. I'd rather them do Noel in a Spider-Man if at all possible. I prefer that.
Sure. Noel is an Avengers villain.
I mean, he's big scale, and like that's like there are ways to like make that's how we get to symbiote early. Like, I know it's like not like that's like 30 years later, but like I would rather him be tied to the Spider-Man Avengers world than just the solo Venom world, even though he is a Venom character.
All I really want from Venom 3 is Tom Hardy like constantly having moments where he's talking to random people trying to explain the other universe he was at a bar in for like 6 hours.
You guys don't understand. Like, the lighting was kind of the same, but very different.
Everything was like brighter.
Yeah.
Okay. More colorful. The Flash. Why is this here?
I don't know who wrote it.
This shouldn't be here. We'll talk it here anyway. I'll forget later. It should be later. Whatever. The Flash TV series. Javicia?
Javika Leslie.
Her. Has been cast in season 9 of The Flash. Now, the official outlets are saying a mysterious role. So implying Batwoman. But it's been leaked that she's playing the Red Death.
Cool.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. I love me some Dark Knights. I love me some Dark Knights. Give me an evil Flash. That's fine.
I really like her, and it's a shame the way that the Batwoman stuff really played out against her, specifically. So it's cool that she's getting kind of at least another opportunity to do something.
Yeah. In
some related vein to the character.
And like it works for me because, you know, instead of Batwoman, like I know like Batman exists, but like you'll have a Batwoman and like the multiverse of evil Batwoman or Batwoman. This is that version. So like I'm cool with that. So.
I wonder if they'll acknowledge that she looks like their Batwoman.
Yes.
They've met her. They have met her, so they should.
I have to imagine they will.
Well, I mean, they're playing with the. Go ahead.
I was saying, like, because we've had Ray Palmer play Superman, so like it's not the first time this kind of thing has happened. So like I expect that hopefully that will happen.
I'm sure that's the reason why they cast my God,
Javicia Leslie.
Javicia Leslie. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I can't say this name. I'm sure that's why they did it, because they wanted to do like, Batwoman instead of Batman becomes the Red Death in one of these universes. And I think that creates some cool drama. They did the same way they did like Black Canary when Earth 2 Black Canary showed up.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea. Why not? We got one more season. Go with the Dark Knights.
Yeah, go out with a bang.
Swing hard.
Yeah. Fix it with Batman.
Right. A sequel. Did you guys ever watch Sausage Party?
I did.
Yeah.
a sequel series is happening, an 8-episode TV event, sequel series to Sasha's Party is coming to Amazon Prime.
I'll tell you what, like I think Sasha's Party is a really funny movie, but like I don't need this show. It's not a show I ever expected to hear. I think that movie's pretty stupid, and like if you want really bad like hot dog bun into like hot dog like sex puns, that's a perfect movie for you. I think it's like smoke a bowl, watch that movie, real funny.
It is definitely a stoner raunchy movie.
Yeah, Seth Rogen. Yeah,
it is definitely something you want to rip the hardest hit to go see.
But like low hanging fruit, Seth Rogen.
No, I think it's a good movie.
No, I'm saying like the joke material.
Is yeah. No, it's every joke. It's like how bad can we get because we're making a movie about food,
right?
Like they have a food orgy. Like it is a completely unserious movie on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm sure this will be funny if it's getting made. I'm sure it's good, but like I have no desire to see it.
But what is the 8-episode arc of these sausages?
Of the sausages banging? Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just exactly with Ryan on this. I was like, really? You need a show about that movie? Okay, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. All right. The first big thing of the night, The Witcher.
Oh, Henry.
So, good news,
Damn
bad news
shame that The
situation.
Witcher got canceled after 3 seasons.
Only 3 seasons. Of
Such
the show.
a shame. Seasons. What? Damn shame. Anyway, it's been renewed for a 4th season. Yay, more Witcher.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought this was a lie. I thought this was disgusting film.
An hour, this was a joke.
Liam Hemsworth.
Definitely, I will say, like, definitely the first source I saw for it on Twitter was discussing film, but I thought it was one of the parody accounts that I blocked to get rid of because there's like 2 out there, and I blocked both of them to not get tricked, and I had to like really look at it. I'm like, oh no,
legitimately. The same thing. I was looking. Because I blocked the joke ones, and I'm looking at that like, and I'm reading the name really carefully. Like, am I missing something?
B-I-S. There's no B.
Yeah.
No B. Yeah. It wasn't until I saw like the official Instagram where I'm like, wow.
Yeah. So Henry Cavill has left the show. Will leave the show at the end of season 3, which is I think done filming, or currently filming. And will be replaced by Liam Hemsworth.
Why?
So first off, I'm so sorry, Liam. I'm so sorry, Liam. That like, I'm sure you're a nice guy. Like, you're a nice actor. You got a great family. Like, I'm sure you're a great dude. So like, he's getting a lot of shit online right now that isn't totally his fault. He's just an actor who took a role. But replacing Henry Cavill, a man who's like 9 feet, 800 pounds of thick boy, with the guy who's like the lead from the second Independence Day movie. It's just that's a downgrade. I'm sorry. It's just like, holy shit, no way, dude. I can't believe it.
I have seen a lot of people being like, Charlie Hunnam's right there.
There are 100 other actors I saw. Why not him? Why not him? Why not him? And
I literally saw that. I literally saw that real quickly, Ben. I saw that and I was just like, you couldn't even get the second most interesting Hemsworth?
There's a Hemsworth that's on Westworld who's barely in the show, and he's better. I love that dude, Luke Hemsworth. He's like the oldest Hemsworth. He should be the new. He should be him.
You know what it is I think, no offense to Liam, I do think he's in that category where like they don't feel the same like complication about taking the role from Henry.
No,
like some higher professional grade actors won't want to take the role from him.
This is for Liam, this is an upgrade for his career for sure. This is the highest profile thing he will ever. He's leading.
It is until no one's watching.
Until no one's. It will get canceled after 1 season. There's no doubt. Like The Witcher. Somebody put it in perspective. Like The Witcher is Netflix's big Lord of the Rings. Like they're big. They went hard into The Witcher. There are multiple spin-off shows happening that have already happened. There were seven seasons planned with Henry Cavill. Yeah, okay. Like they went really hard. And like I feel this is all about to come up. Like
yeah, a lot of the animated stuff will probably still happen. Some of the spin-off stuff.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have to. There's no way they get the viewers.
I don't know if like I don't know why. Part of me when I saw this, part of me was hoping it's like so they're doing a prequel season, right? This is like a prequel of Young Geralt, and then Henry Cavill's gonna come back.
Yeah, you think so?
I freaking hope so. I know that's not it, but at the same time,
It's not.
yeah. Sparks, you said Charlie Hunnam, and I didn't even think about this because I was just too shocked that Netflix is this dumb of taking away Henry Cavill. I'm like,
Well,
Charlie
okay,
Hunnam could work.
we'll get there, but yeah.
But no, just no.
Because here's the thing:
No.
it's not just we're getting Liam Hemsworth. Henry Cavill left after being the most committed to this out of anyone on that production team. This dude he is so into The Witcher. Like he was ready to be the Witcher for a decade.
He got hurt, and then the director was like, "I hope he didn't get hurt, just so he could go home and play video games."
It's way more than that.
Well, so he loves The Witcher, as Ryan said. Now there are people online, and people are starting to kind of correct this, saying that is this because of Superman? It's not. What it sounds like is this is stemming from the showrunner for X-Men 97. He was on The Witcher. I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah.
He mentioned that unlike The Witcher, he says specifically, unlike The Witcher, I wanted people who worked on the show who actually liked the original show. And that's kind of where everyone's wondering, like, wait a second, with all the things we've heard behind the scenes about how the writers and showrunners don't like the source material, Henry Cavill loves the source material, did he just finally have enough?
There's a great thread. I whether we tweeted it or not, I don't remember, but like it's all the different times that it's been online of like Henry Cavill talking about how he wants the show to be more like the source material, and like there's like one thread like
literally every season.
It's literally every season, and like season 3 is like, don't worry guys, like this one, like you love the books, this is the one, baby. And it's like and again I'm behind. Like I've only watched the first season, which I really like, but like the fact that like behind the scenes stuff has been so like tumultuous that like I think this was some small part as well.
He campaigned for this role.
Yeah, absolutely.
He chased this role.
I honestly, there is a world where he can be Superman and Geralt at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Like only 2 projects a year. Actors do way more than that in a year, right? Like it's the behind the scenes shit of like, it's just not worth it. It's just not like they don't want to do they don't want to make the show that like I think the fans deserve.
Right.
And even like, again, I'm not caught up, but like the second season of The Witcher is, I don't think, as popular as that first season was. So like, this just feels like writing on the wall.
I think I can attest to the second season of The Witcher. Now, when I was watching it, I was loving it. But unfortunately, the second season, it fell into the trap of something came up and I completely forgot about it. And I have yet to go. There are things that pop up. It's like, oh yeah, I need to go finish my season 2 of The Witcher. And then, something else. It's like Doug from Up, where it's like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. Focus on this one thing. Something shiny sparkles. I go squirrel, and I go to the shiny thing.
And I think go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. No, go please.
Well, I was going to say, I think a lot of that honestly also has to do with the fact that Netflix has been burying a lot this year. Their release schedule this year has not been well thought out. I'll just put it that way. And I think The Witcher probably also suffered from that, having come out at the end of last year, like December-ish, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that probably hurt, but also like the first season was like the most popular that show ever is ever going to be.
Honestly. The hype for that first season was so big.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the second season, like there was like almost none.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, I love that first season. I have not gotten a chance to watch the second season. I want to.
I'm going to now.
I really like Henry Cavill as Geralt, and I really enjoy that performance. I really like him as an actor. The thing is, I look at Henry Cavill and I see a man. Like I see him in that Geralt makeup, and I'm like, that's a man. Yeah. Oh,
you see Liam, you see a boy.
I did declare like, and when I see Liam, I see a boy. Like, can you imagine Liam in that white wig? He's going to look like he's doing cosplay.
And here's the thing, like there are pictures online of like people defending Liam, and like if you look at him now, that dude does work out. He is thick, but he's not Henry Cavill.
He has a baby face.
Yeah,
he has a baby face.
He's a baby face, 100%. Yeah.
They're not even that far apart in age, but Henry Cavill just looks like he's got the decades longer wisdom. Liam Hemsworth looks like he's a pretty boy who just came up from his daddy's yacht.
Yeah. It is. The real question is, was he the first choice? Honestly,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Was Liam Hemsworth the real first choice? Because if it was, we have bigger issues at hand.
Yes.
And if he wasn't, then who said no to this? And where
Yeah.
does it go down the line? Because like that's where I start to feel bad for Liam. Because like, what if he was like 4th or 5th?
Again, I go back to, I'm pretty confident that I'm sure they approached a few other people before they got to Liam Hemsworth, and they probably said no. For a myriad of reasons, but I think prominently among them is they didn't want to take over a show that Henry Cavill didn't want to be part of anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, his passion for this character, for this world, for the source material, for doing, like, he heard about this show immediately and chased it. He took a pay cut to be in this show.
I still couldn't, like, when there's like it was talking about happening, like I still, like, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like Superman wanted to be Geralt. Like, get out of here.
Right.
And he's good.
I even remember when we saw that leaked test footage of his makeup, and we weren't super hot on it, and then the trailer dropped, and we were like, never mind.
Yeah.
He's Geralt.
I just can't see. I'm picturing like a deep fake of Liam Hemsworth in the first season of The Witcher, and I'm like, I can't. You're a child.
It is online. They have done it, and it does look bad.
He's
He
a
does look like
child.
a baby. He looks like a baby. Unless they give him bearded Geralt. Because like Geralt, like he has a beard in Witcher 3. But
They looked at I look at the list. I'm thinking about this list that they picked Liam Hemsworth from, and I'm wondering like how many actors were above him, and were all the Hemsworth above him?
yeah, right.
Can we get Chris
call your
Hemsworth?
brother? Call your other brother. What about your other brother? Again, like I do feel bad for Liam because like, well, do I though? Because like, have I ever liked anything he's been in? Honestly,
It's like picking the worst Baldwin.
I don't.
The only thing I've ever really liked him in, like thought he did a good job in, was that Rebel Wilson rom-com he was in.
Okay.
Oh
Where,
yeah,
like, it's the one where like she knows she's in a rom-com.
it's not romantic.
Yeah, and he's also a character who's kind of like playing up rom-com cliches, and he works.
Okay,
It's funny.
Okay,
and that's the only time I've ever thought that. Certainly not something where I would go, you know what he should do?
Fight monsters.
Play Geralt.
Yeah, it's who knows? Maybe he'll be all right, but just like I can't imagine. I can't see it.
No,
You're gonna get a big audience boom for season 3 because of all the people who want to see Henry Cavill do it for the last time, and then you're gonna get a big drop off for season 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm really curious how that spinoff show coming out this year is going to do.
Yeah.
Probably okay if it didn't have to have Geralt in it.
That's true. Michelle Yeoh's in that. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll probably do okay.
Oh yeah, that's been like thousands of years in the past. Oh yeah, that's the
Yeah,
House
yeah.
of the Dragon Witcher.
They're probably going to have to focus more on that and just say, you know what, the Witcher story with Geralt is probably done at season 4.
Yeah, the best thing that I saw someone say is like what they should have done is just end Geralt's story and then continue it with Ciri and the other great side characters that are on that show. Because yeah, Geralt is great. There's also a bunch of other great characters that we could follow along too. Like The Witcher is about it's like supporting cast just as much. So like having Geralt like unfortunately pass or like go away and have to follow like his daughter or like daughter or whatever.
Not a surprise.
That'd be great, but no.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right.
Not for season 4 anyway.
Not for season 4.
Disney.
D-Dog?
Ironheart. I thought this would be kind of fun. Rumor has it that Sacha Baron Cohen. There's chatter on set that Sacha Baron Cohen is playing Mephisto.
Yeah, we're actually here, guys. It's finally happening.
Mephisto.
It's actually happening.
We did it, guys. All that speculation did it.
Is Ironheart the show I would think the devil would show up in? No, but also I didn't think the Hood, a mystical Avengers villain, would also be the villain of Ironheart. So like, the Hood is a dude who gets a hood from a monster, from a demon, and like, there you go. So like,
Just make it Mephisto.
that's totally fine. I 100% don't think he's like the main villain. Like it's the Hood, but like this will be setting up more of the mystical dark shit. It is so fascinating that Ironheart is a tech versus magic show. Like that is, I cannot wait to see that first trailer and see like what the story is. Cause like that is generally not magic, like Final Fantasy shit, like tech and magic. Like it's not something that happens in the comics a lot. Kieran Gillen did an Iron Man run that is not good. It's the one Kieran Gillen thing I don't think is very good. It's his first arc of Iron Man where he does Merlin Camelot shit, and it's awful. The magic Iron Man shit is bad. So like, it takes a real stern hand to do that shit right. So like, I'm so stoked. Also, Sacha Baron Cohen, great choice for Mephisto.
I was about to say.
Incredible choice. So charismatic, so charming, so can be creepy and unnerving when he needs to be. Love it.
I'm thinking
Wait,
about
that's
his performance in Sweeney Todd, and I'm like, just
Yeah.
do that.
Absolutely.
Who
Sure.
was he in Sweeney Todd?
He's the other barber.
The rival barber.
Oh, okay. I think I
Yeah, he just
remember
seems to
that.
be like really charming and like I'm gonna get
I
your
was-
soul.
I was thinking more about his performance in Les Mis.
He's fun, Les Mis.
That's not
Cool.
very Mephisto-y, but sure.
No, I don't know why. That's the because I didn't
It's the one movie
see.
you've seen of him in Disney.
I didn't watch the second Alice in Wonderland movie, so I know he was one of the antagonists in that one.
Oh
Oh yeah,
I'm like time guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. That's the only other Sacha Baron Cohen film I can think of was Les Mis. That wasn't him
What do you mean?
going. all-
Borat's not gonna show up in Ironheart.
Yo,
My hood.
what if though?
My
What if?
All right, Vision Quest.
Yes.
This was speculated on a YouTube channel. I forgot the John Roca. I believe first said this, and then Deadline confirmed it with their sources. There is a Vision Quest series, in the development for Disney Plus. A writer's room is being assembled, and it will be about the White Vision trying to regain his memories.
I love the title.
Jack Schaefer, who worked on WandaVision, and is also working on Agatha, Coven of Darkness, House of Agnes. It's all wrong.
Coven
all
of
those are wrong.
Chaos.
Coven of Chaos. They're doing this show as well.
Cool. It's nice because everyone's like, "What happened to Vision?" I'm like, "He'll show up, guys. Be patient." Like,
Yeah.
WandaVision wasn't that long ago.
Yes, it was.
How long ago was it? 2 years ago?
Years
A year and a half. Where's White Vision been?
Is he gonna show up in Eternals? Like what?
I mean, like a year and a half in the MCU has happened.
No, but like, where is he gonna show up in the movie? Is he gonna show up in Shang-Chi? Like, I'm not mad that he hasn't shown up. I don't care much about White Vision as I do about other characters not showing up.
Well, he did show up in Multiverse of Madness
Why would he show up there?
because of Wanda.
I know.
Cool. Fantastic Four. The same guy reported that Doom. I thought this would be interesting to talk about. Dr. Doom will not be the main villain of the first Fantastic Four movie.
Good. He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, make it Mole Man, make it Diablo, make it the Dragon Man, make it anybody else besides the guy who's been in all the other movies.
Probably also points to bigger plans for Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As it should.
especially because a lot of MCU villains, I have a feeling, especially the big time ones, when they show up in a movie, they don't show up ever again.
Well, I think with the thing is, like, Ryan talks about Doom. This about Doom. He needs to be around. He can't just be a one-off villain. He needs to be a force.
No, yeah, they are not putting out, despite what everyone wants to believe, they're not putting out a Secret Wars movie where Doom is not the main antagonist in that movie. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how much Kang is involved. There's a movie called The Kang Dynasty that comes out before Secret Wars. Doom is the end game of this phase, y'all. I promise you. Come back to this moment 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, however long they push that Secret Wars movie. 6 years from now, this is the moment. It's Dr. Doom. It's not Kang. He's got a whole movie called Kang Dynasty.
Jekyll and Hyde. This is the moment.
This is the moment.
Star Wars news. Damon Lindelof is developing a movie. He's writing and producing this movie. Charmin Obaid Chinoy was in talks to direct. So reportedly, this movie will be set after The Rise of Skywalker, but will be unconnected from the Skywalker saga.
Cool. The last thing David Lindelof worked on was Watchmen, so I'm okay with whatever that fool wants to work on.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to touch, sir. If you want to bring some of that Andor politics into this movie, please, baby.
I will give that. If I was Disney right now, I'd be like, blank check, have fun, and just sit back and let the man do his thing.
Yeah.
They've given blank checks to many creators that have not released a movie or a TV show. I'm happy to see David Lindelof do this. He's brilliant. Now, I don't think he was always. There's a few duds in his filmography, but he'd been after The Leftovers.
The Leftovers is one of the greatest shows ever made.
Yeah, and then Watchmen, and then this. I'm happy to see this.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Especially if we get some sequel trilogy characters in it, like Poe Dameron or Rey Skywalker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see how
Dameron.
much Oscar Isaac needs that second house.
He said he'd come back. He'd do it.
Yeah, he also said before that, when I need a new house, I'll come back.
Yeah. This could pay for it. Do it,
Exactly.
Oscar Isaac. I don't think you're gonna get John Boyega back.
No, I think you get Rose.
I'd watch that.
God, can we?
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it.
Redemption
think,
for Rose. Yeah,
I just think that's probably more the vein that we probably go with if we get anybody from the sequel trilogy. It's going to be characters like Rose.
Yeah.
I do really love that we are still at this point where we're talking to Ryan Johnson about his trilogy, being like, "So it's happening," and he's like, "Yeah, we're talking." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure,
honestly,
dude."
That's great though. Like, as long as he's not saying it's done. Like, if it takes 5-10 years, like as long as you get another Last Jedi quality movie out of you, I'll be happy for real.
Gotta make a couple more Benoit Blanc movies.
And a TV show.
Doctor Who.
Ooh.
It's come around. Doctor Who had a big week this week. The Doctor regenerated. The 13th Doctor regenerated into the 14th Doctor. That's kind of where the news begins. David Tennant was officially revealed to be the 14th Doctor. So at the final of her series, she regenerates. Jodie Whittaker regenerates and is David Tennant once again. And it's supposed to be... That's not supposed to happen.
But what? What will happen to the new Doctor Who?
So, Ncuti Gatwa is revealed to be the 15th Doctor. So, David Tennant and Catherine Tate, as we know, are coming back. They will star in 3 specials starting in November of 2023. They will do those 3 specials, and at the end of the 3rd special, David Tennant will regenerate into Ncuti Gatwa, and then he will take over the show from there.
That's over a year away, man.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, I know you announced things early, but this is pretty early.
Yeah, and these 3 specials are already filmed for Doctor Who, so it's like, well, we gotta wait a while to see those specials that you already did.
Why? It's because it's the 60th anniversary. We're waiting to drop it for the 60th.
Yes, that's true.
Fine. I'll try not to die.
I hope the 60th is a multi-Doctor adventure. There's no reason to believe it to be otherwise, but I hope so.
I believe it.
They haven't said one way or the other if other Doctors are returning for the 60th.
I believe it. Yeah. Eccleston showed up.
Oh man, I'd love it if Eccleston showed up.
He's in a good state of mind with it now. I believe he will.
Yeah, and then Colin Baker, the 4th Doctor, he recently talked about his returning for the Day of the Doctor, which apparently didn't go well. That sucks.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
The other bit of news for Doctor Who was that BBC has made an international a partnership with Disney Plus. Disney Plus will become the exclusive streaming home, day and date. It sounds like that's not confirmed. That's just me extrapolating.
It does seem like that, though.
Yeah, for Doctor Who. So when it airs in Britain, it airs on Disney Plus.
That's crazy.
Internationally. So Disney Plus is actually taking the license over from the BBC America, which has had it for decades.
Wow.
And are partially funding the show.
Disney Plus is partially funding the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that budget's going to be sick. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. But and what's really cool about the deal is this is a win-win in my book, because like what's really cool about the deal is Disney has no creative control in the show. That's all going to be BBC and Russell T Davies. Disney is just footing the bill.
God, this feels like I'm coming home.
And Davies worked to get was part of what worked to get this deal going.
Yeah. Do we know if all the old Doctor Who stuff's going to show up on Disney Plus now?
It doesn't look like it. I suspect that it will
in the future
after the HBO Max license expires.
Yeah.
So there's also the case of BBC iPlayer being the only place where you can stream the classic Doctor Who. I wonder if that license will also expire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think both of those licenses, because that one's BBC iPlayer, I think they'll just change that over when they get the chance.
Yeah.
But as far as like the Eccleston and On stuff, that will need the HBO Max license
I
suspect.
just don't see a future where you start putting Doctor Who on this thing without trying to get the old stuff on it.
Yeah.
No, they will eventually expect all of Doctor Who
on Disney
Plus.
What a world we live in, guys.
That's nuts.
I'm okay with that, honestly. I would love to watch the classic Doctor Who.
I mean, no, I'm not saying that's nuts isn't a bad thing. I'm saying that's nuts is like, wow, okay.
No, it's crazy that we're at this place where I'm over here.
I can't wait for the Disney Plus Doctor Who animated Christmas short where they get all the doctors back.
Yeah. It's just like Disney again being like this big, like super evil, like just bigger than life corporation, and I look at decisions that other big movie studios make, and this Disney makes the right ones. Like Disney made Barbarian, and I have to keep shouting that from the rooftops because like it got bought, and then they came in, and Zach was like, "Hey Disney, I know I got this weird movie, and like we're with you 100% of the way. We're putting this movie out." And Prey, exactly. Like every fear that everyone had about Disney buying all these, like they are the best at turning shit around.
Yeah.
And like I 100% see like, man, Doctor Who being on Disney Plus, Doctor Who's never going to be more popular in the United States than it is going to be on Disney
internationally.
or internationally. Like this is going to blow up Doctor Who again. Like after that first resurgence.
That's their hope and goal.
That's incredible. I love it.
I agree with all of that. I also can't wait for the Lisa Simpson meets the 15th Doctor short that'll eventually get made.
Oh hell yeah, that'll be great.
The interesting thing here is this is like so strategic, by the way. Like this is insanely strategic. Like the idea that you've got Disney Plus, which is one of the most popular streaming services in America, certainly.
For families.
For families, you're going to have new Doctor Who on there. It's David Tennant, who's already the most popular in America, and a logo that harkens back to the previously most popular era of Doctor Who. So you got everyone being like, "Oh, Doctor Who, hell yeah!"
I can already see like
you're looking at
the Disney Plus like homepage of like, look who's here, and it's just like David Tennant, like it's me, I'm here.
Previously most popular era, which
the Colin Baker, Tom
Baker, got it. Okay,
Tom Baker. He was the most popular in America for decades.
Okay, so I get you now. I get you. The previous most popular area was confusing because I knew where the logo was coming from, but I got you.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm catching up Doctor Who. I'm excited to be able to watch it, especially if it's true that it's day and date. Hell yeah, baby!
It is
game changer.
It is on one point. It is sad that it's over a year away. That gives me so much time to catch up.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
True.
That is a good thing.
And it's just crazy that we're at a place where like we always wanted to be at this place where we will watch we got Doctor Who like a year after it would air in Britain. Like they kept trying to shorten it as much as they could, but they couldn't. Now if we potentially get it day and date, Sparks is right. Game changer. Like, man, we're going to be part of the conversation with the people in Britain.
Oi!
It's insane.
They're going to hate us.
They will hate us. They already do. So what's new?
We already left. You can't take us back.
I'm really excited for that, though.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Especially because I got David Tennant back. I don't care how long it is. 3 episodes? I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers Discovery. This is mostly good news, I would actually say. So I just want to preface this with audience. If you want bad news for Warner Brothers Discovery, look up Lord of the Rings NFTs and leave me alone.
We do talk about that briefly on our quarterly,
That's
actually.
True.
So there you go.
That also got announced the morning we recorded.
I legitimately almost put that in there. And I was reading the articles like, yeah, I can't be bothered to talk about this.
Don't give it the light of day. Yeah.
No.
Don't get Ben started. Don't you get Ben started on NFTs.
Hold me back.
I'm sorry. All right. So for a while, David Zaslav, we've been talking about it. David Zaslav has been looking for his own Kevin Feige. It was revealed this weekend that he actually approached Kevin Feige for the job.
That had been rumored before too. So.
It had been rumored. I thought he didn't approach him. I thought he knew better.
I honestly thought he would have been a smarter man to actually ask.
Guys, the moment like the Zaslav stuff started coming out, I was like, he definitely did that. He definitely went to Kevin Feige and thought he could pull him.
I don't know why I was trying to give him the benefit of a doubt.
Yeah.
But like, no, you are just really bad at your job. Well,
he did a move that I'm actually really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
So realizing that he can't find a Kevin Feige figure because Kevin Feige I've talked about is very unique in the producing world. It's very difficult to find one. People have been trying for decades. And he decided to go with a Pixar route for his newly formed DC Studios. So James Gunn and Peter Safran have been hired as co-CEOs of DC Studios, which is insane to me.
Yeah, this the Pixar analogy is great because this a filmmaker getting a boost getting an upgrade like this in the studio world is almost unheard of.
Yeah,
it's unheard of in live action. It's never been done in live action.
And again, this is one of those news stories like the Witcher one, where like for like an hour I was like, I don't believe this. Like until James Gunn again posted on his Instagram like, nah, this is real. I'm like, holy shit.
I remember we were talking about the rumors that James Gunn would take it over, and we said no, he shouldn't take it over, and now he is.
Well, the thing is, like, we all assumed he didn't want it because, like, he didn't want, like, he was offered a Superman movie and he said no to it, and like that's awesome. That's like baller. The fact that he said no to a Superman movie and then was offered, hey, do you still want to run this shit how you want to run it and like do what you need to do creatively, is such a baller move. And he is like, we all love James Gunn as a filmmaker. That dude has such a craft of character, and that is what Warner Brothers needs. Is someone who knows character. And someone who can trickle down all the good shit that like comic book people like. This is they couldn't have picked a better person, honestly.
And
I want to real quickly bounce off of what Ryan said, which is like, you know, he had never expressed interest in doing this, and when he turned down that Superman movie was during Hamada's run. This is how quickly like DC, like Warner Bros. Has changed in the past like 10 years. Hamada approached him with a Superman movie. He said no and got the Suicide Squad, and a different regime offered him to run DC films. That's crazy.
And the thing is, we know. Oh, sorry, you go first. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say to Ben's point, like if I will say that if this was just James Gunn taking over, I would be trepidatious about it. Not because I don't have faith in him or I don't like what he does, or it's purely from I feel like that would be too overwhelming for going to that position solo. Yes. I feel like James Gunn would hold it, but he would ultimately back out of it.
Yes.
Getting help.
Yeah, but I think doubling it up allows James Gunn the freedom to not be responsible for every single piece of it.
Yeah.
So Peter Safran has been working with James Gunn for many years. Before he was a producer, he was a manager, and James Gunn was one of his clients. He's produced many James Gunn movies. He's produced tons of great movies, honestly. The Conjuring films, the DC films up until this point, he's been producing those. And so he'll handle the business side of everything, and James Gunn will handle the creative side of everything. And what I think is really great about this, kind of going back to the Pixar model, is that not only will James Gunn be running the business, co-running the business, he will also be able to direct his own projects, such as Peacemaker or an upcoming movie that he's been kind of rumored about recently.
Yeah. Like the fact that he's like, because that would also be a huge bummer if like he got this upgrade, but he stops making movies. Yeah. And that would be a disaster, because like I'd rather you not become a businessman than please. The thing that I am most fascinated by is, for the past month or two, we've talked about how awful Zaslav's regime is, how awful the new Warner Brothers Discovery, how all this I don't think James Gunn would have took this job unless he had true freedom under Zaslav. There's no way someone like James Gunn would take this job, especially after coming from Disney of all places, where they fired him. God, biggest mistake they could have made. Holy shit!
And knowing about the Batgirl stuff, like there's no way he wouldn't have something in there that says you can't pull a Batgirl on me.
Absolutely, like there must be clause after clause in his contract, or like, you are not canceling any of my shit. All right, like, you want me to do this, I'm going to do it. You have to let me do it my way. Because look at like Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, two of the best things the DCU's ever made. And I'm like, oh, this is like, this is such good news after all the Zaslav bullshit. I'm like, oh my God, the DC, like, they actually have a future. Wow.
That contract, sorry, Brandon, just to jump off what Ryan's saying, that contract has to be ironclad, where Zaslav cannot interfere and pull off any of his bullshit.
Yeah. So about the hierarchy of the DC universe, so David Zaslav will be at the top, and then James Gunn and Peter Safran only report to him, but they will work independently with the other department heads of HBO Max, Cartoon Network, Warner Bros. Animation. I forgot. Sorry, RIP. And Warner Bros. Studios, to work on everything. So James Gunn and Peter Safran will run everything: animation, TV shows. Everything.
Actually, Kevin Feige, not like a fake, like, oh, we need to find our own Kevin Feige. They are running DC Entertainment. Like, that's insane. I can't believe it. Like, James Gunn, I can't imagine the conversation he had at home, like weighing to take this offer, because this is like the biggest offer.
You know, he talked to Kevin too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He definitely contacted Kevin Feige and said, "I want your advice on this."
Yeah, I'm sure Kevin's like, bro, like, they need help. You help them do it.
This is also how the Marvel versus DC crossover film happens.
Yeah.
I want to say it. Sorry, but I even heard like a quote from I don't know if this is real or not, but someone asked Kevin Feige the second the news broke, was like, "What are you saying?" Kevin Feige said, "I'll be first in line to anything that James Gunn puts out. I will be there."
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He also joked for like he still has another year of his movies coming out, so he better get back to work. LOL.
Once Guardians of the Galaxy, so their job starts November 1st. Once Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 opens, James Gunn will be exclusive for DC. He will not be able to. Obviously, he's running the studio, so he won't be able to do extra projects. Well, what I think is really great about this, so I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think this move by Zaslav is brilliant. Legitimately, I think it's brilliant, and I think what it allows is if this is an experiment. This is an experiment. This is a gamble, and I love it because of that. What this can do, ideally, look, I like to think the best in people sometimes. What this could do is open the door for more creative voices behind the scenes in these high-level executive positions, like we see in Pixar. This is not done in live action, and perhaps if this experiment works for these 4 years, which he's got his 4 years exclusive contract, if this experiment works, maybe other studios start doing the same thing. And I think that's really great that we could essentially position more studios to have this structure.
Yeah. And with Gunn coming to DC, he's going to bring a lot of his friends and not just actors, but other filmmakers to DC. Dave Bautista.
Yes.
He has said how much he's done with he's done with Disney. He's not after Guardians. He's done. He's done with that. His ass is jumping over whatever James Gunn's gonna do. People want to play Bane. That is a perfect choice. Like that is cool. Like the future is so bright. Like I don't know if it's on news, but is there Superman news?
There is.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, the future is so bright with the 1-2 punch of Black Adam and James Gunn. I'm like, wow. Like we've been doing the show for a lot of years, and despite like even good movies coming out, like DC's always been kind of scattershot. Like this is the first time in 6 years we're like, wow, they got a plan. Whoa.
This is kind of felt good since BVS.
Yeah.
It does kind of feel like this is kind of like putting the money where your mouth is. When everyone says we got a 10-year plan for DC, it doesn't really look like it. This does look like putting your money where your mouth is in that case. Yeah. I do hope that James Gunn keeps Hamada's kind of director first mentality. It does sound like he will from just what he's been saying about doing this. He wants to work with the best people and let them be able to do their thing. That's I think where DC's strength was in the Hamada era of just like we're getting like distinct director-led visions for these movies, and I hope that continues because I think that's the best part. That's the thing I want to see continue from the Hamada era more than anything.
And this is gonna sound crazy. It's like James Gunn could never be a better producer than Kevin Feige, right? He doesn't have the same amount of experience, but James Gunn being a filmmaker and working under the Disney corporate umbrella of the MCU, taking that to the DCU, this potentially can create something far better than what the MCU can give us in terms of I'm trying to say this. Like every phase feels a little wonky. Like James Gunn, now having been through all this, can give us like, here's the true trajectory for 10 years. It doesn't got to be phases. It just be we'll put out movie after movie, then we'll get adjusted. Like he has so much experience working on both sides. He can create something like truly great as like this mega producer now. I'm just so thrilled. And again, him showing up means other people are going to want to show up so we can see cool people show up. And I'm like, because like we talked about, like with all this Warner Brothers shit happening, like it could have scared off filmmakers and actors. Like their shit's getting canceled left and right. Like nobody felt safe. This feels like safety for superheroes in a way. Because we care about this shit so much. Like we want it to be good.
Just make that Justice League versus Crime Syndicate movie. That's the Justice League movie I want more than anything. People have been talking about it online.
It's so easy. You got all your characters. Just have evil versions of them show up. It's so easy.
They said someone mentioned that Christian Bale should be Owlman in the fan cast. I think it should be George Clooney.
I would much prefer George Clooney. Oh, I want to see
really
him.
Cool.
I want to see him like, I don't care about life. Let's kill everything. I want to see that George Clooney.
Yeah, because like this is kind of, I had this fan cast when Ben Affleck was Batman. I was like, what would be really great is George Clooney as Owlman. Just for some reason, those two look great together.
I would very much be into that. Yeah.
This is an optimistic moment.
Yeah.
A little bit more about this. So James Gunn and Peter Safran will not direct Joker, Folie à Deux, and anything related to the Batman. It is not clear who will take over producing duties for the Batman. Most likely the same duo who run Warner Brothers Studios, the film division of Warner Brothers. Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi will produce the Joker sequel, and everything else will be under Gunn. That's cool.
Love it. And like, hey, like, however you feel about that first Joker movie, like, I'm glad that it gets to exist because it is a unique thing. I'm really excited for that Harley Quinn musical starring Lady Gaga. So like, I'm really glad that still gets to exist while also having the Batman sequel, also building whatever new DCU you're trying to build. Like, it just feels so good right now. Like, it's again after the last couple of weeks of just talking nonstop shit about Warner Brothers. Like, they finally did something right. Like, it's great.
Yeah, it's very refreshing. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
The Green Lantern TV series has been radio silent for a number of months. We finally got some news on it, though. It's going to be completely overhauled. This came in the wake of the James Gunn stuff. Might be related, might not. Seth Grahame-Smith, who is the showrunner for the series as it was, Greg Berlanti was producing. This is the one that was going to have like Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, Alan Scott, Guy Gardner. Will now feature only Jon Stewart as the main Green Lantern of that series. Seth Grahame-Smith, the showrunner, has left. They're going to look for a new showrunner, and it will have a significantly less budget than the initial series.
You know what I want for my Green Lantern? A low budget,
Right?
Because it's not like that's a show that needs special effects or anything. You know, it's not like it's a character who creates constructs or anything. That's because the show is like not existent yet. I don't care. Like, I don't even know what it could be. So like, I like Jon Stewart. Like, maybe having a focused Green Lantern is a better idea than like as much as the core trying to follow a bunch of different people. Like
I think it's a better first idea for like a wide non-comic reading audience.
Yeah, to establish
try and establish a character they can connect with before you expand into all these others. While I would love to see characters like Jessica Cruz, I think you do start a foundation before you launch into that, because a large amount of the population's core memory of Green Lantern is the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe the Justice League cartoon. Okay. But I'm talking people who wouldn't even watch those cartoons or aren't from that generation.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, like Green Lantern in the last couple of years, really, like, not much representation, even in the comics.
No, it's true.
Besides like a Grant Morrison maxi or whatever, but like, man, Green Lantern, let's do something, Green Lantern, come on.
I am so on board for a Green Lantern series. Still, I want this to come out already. This is kind of getting ridiculous.
We've been talking about the show for like, I feel like years at this point.
Yeah. The Flash, the script for the sequel has already been written. It was turned in by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick.
That was quick. Writer
of Conjuring 2 and 3 and Aquaman.
Well, that's a Warner Brothers guy. Here's the thing, y'all. I am praying. And this isn't looking likely, because apparently just Ezra Miller's just free of all charges or whatever, because that's how America works. That character that Barry would like, he'd get Doctor Who'd at the end of the thing because of like dimension stuff, and it's just a new actor. Because like I want to see that movie for all the reasons except that it's about the Flash. That sucks. Because like, I want to see Batman, I want to see Supergirl, I want to see that world. But it's just really hard for me to watch that movie when that's your lead. So. If they're making another one with the same actor, it's hard for me to want to be invested.
I agree.
I honestly keep forgetting that we're getting a Flash movie. To be honest,
I think they're pushing so hard because like those test screenings are probably true. That movie probably is really fun. It might be really, really good. It's unfortunately that the main star of it is an abuser, and it's disgusting. And like, it's just it's Cult of the Lamb, Cult of the Miller. It's just a bummer situation. I hope he gets de-rezzed and we get a new actor. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I have slightly more faith now that it's under Gunn and Safran's preview for the sequel going forward.
Good point.
That things can be better or change. So even if the script is shit, I think Gunn will be like, this is bad. Pick something else. Good. New script.
Yeah. Good point.
New Flash.
Point. Having a good moralist person there is probably helpful too. Yeah. Like James.
Yeah, just get Grant Gustin to do the movie.
I don't know. No,
I just don't think he wants to.
Let him sleep.
Let him spend time with his daughter.
I will say, I do want a cameo. I did want a cameo. I wouldn't be disappointed if it wasn't
I'll still
there.
take a cameo, sure.
I'll take a cameo of him, because if it's like a Flashpoint thing, he's running through dimensions, and Grant Gustin's in there, sure.
And it only makes sense because he showed up on the TV show, so it'd be a fun connect. Like, I don't mind that. Yeah.
Superman. Well, if you've seen Black Adam, you already know Superman, Henry Cavill
Or
himself.
if you just followed The Rock for the last 3 weeks, he's been spoiling it himself. Like, literally just spoiling it on national television.
Real quick, Grayson in the chat goes, #faith in Gunn.
Yes.
Guns.
It was really funny because like the leak happened. Like, it leaked that he was in the movie. And then I saw that after, but then he started being like, Black Adam is the strongest person on the planet, but the strongest person on the universe has been put behind bars for far too long. And that's all I'll say. I was like, well, you just said it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Henry Cavill's back as Superman. I'm happy about that. I love him. I'm so grateful that he can come back to that role. He clearly loved.
Yeah.
And a new film is in the very early development of for him. And I'm good.
Did you see, Brandon? Did you see who the rumored front runner is? And it makes me want to vomit.
Christopher McQuarrie?
No, David Yates.
Oh.
Yeah. I made the joke to Sparks. Wow, you found somebody who desaturates color even more than Zack Snyder. Oh no. That's just a rumor, and I don't believe it. Because Jesus Christ, please, can we have color in a Superman movie? Please, Jesus.
I know Christopher McQuarrie. He pitched a Superman movie. He'll never do a Superman movie. I wish we lived in the world where he got to. I just want a good director, man. Give that man a good director.
Under Gunn, I have a little more faith. Because he'll definitely get that boat on the right track. It's just really cool that he's back. It is weird that like the last movie he was really in, he was dead for the entire part of it, and then another movie came out where he's even dead for twice as long, but he's still in it. And I was like, can we just get a fucking Superman? Like, what? Come on. It's great.
That's I kind of wrote about that. Like, it having like a headless Superman and then a blacked out Superman, like from Shazam and Peacemaker, was always like, so he's here, but you just refuse to bring back Henry Cavill, who's like throwing himself at you.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, Warner Brothers. They got Liam now, so you got Henry.
It's optimistic just because, like, while I still wish we could see at least one, if not both, of the Black Superman projects, because I don't think that those were misguided or need to not exist just because we're getting this.
Yeah.
I still think it's great for Henry Cavill because Henry Cavill is a great Superman for our generation who has not been allowed to have a great Superman film.
It's true.
I agree. I did see in the same report of Henry Cavill kind of having this moment. He says like there is such a bright future ahead for the character, and I'm so excited to tell a story with an enormously joyful Superman. In one of these reports, it was stated that the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman of the 1940s Clark Kent is still in active development, which could discredit the rumor that we heard way back that it was being retooled into a white Superman movie.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Again, like under this new regime, maybe James is like, no, how about diversity is yes? How about
there's the kind of thing like Hamada was really chaotic when it came to DC. Like he was throwing darts at a wall, and he wanted this multiverse strategy, and he had this idea of all these different things can exist in everything. And so that's why we had the Val Zod in the 1940s Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie. And so I do wonder if maybe James Gunn will, because he's not producing Batman or the Joker Folia Doe, if he is going to pull back from the multiverse aspect of it, to kind of like reign the chaos, the remaining chaos that Hamada put DC in, to kind of like rein it in and bringing it all back into like one vision. Yeah. So maybe there isn't room for the Ta-Nehisi Coates or Val Zod. Perhaps there could be.
I don't feel like that's true when we have the Batman, because like even though this would be produced by Gunn, like if you can have a story that's about a Batman that's not in the main world that most of our other films are taking place, we can do that with a Black Superman too. There's no real reason not to do it.
Sure, that's true. I was just spitballing.
Yeah. No, and I see what you mean, Brandon. Like instead of kind of just doing like we just make everything because we can. It is a more focused approach. So I see what you're saying.
I think like, the goal doesn't need to be, especially I think this was probably more likely with Al-Zod, where you would get like a Black Superman crossing over to the other characters kind of thing from the multiverse. I don't think we need to do that, but I think you still can have, just like Joker, a standalone Black Superman in the 40s story.
Just movies. Yeah.
And that be very effective and cool.
I have to imagine, because Marvel is just double, triple, quadrupling down on multiverse stuff. Like that's literally what we're building to. I want to believe that like DC is probably going to back away from that, because like the Flash, we know we're dealing with all that shit, but the Flash is the only movie that's dealing with all that shit. So like maybe if that could be the only one that's multiversal, James can do it. Like, no, we can just keep it kind of grounded, but everything is still fun. Like, you know, we don't need to do the Marvel thing. We don't need alternate characters showing up everywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think an important thing to acknowledge is that it's nice that we're free of Hamada, at least, because like some good things have come out, but some bad things have come out. Certainly bad things happened under Hamada's reign. It was a scattershot. It was a shit show. To be honest, after BVS, I never felt like he actually had faith in any project. Yeah. I think he just took shots and hoped that they landed. And when they did, he took credit. And when they didn't, he blamed someone else. Mm-hmm. We know about all the Ray Fisher stuff. Like Hamada was a shit show in handling that. And
because he took over from Johns. Which
I think it's better. I think it's better that he's parted ways so that something better can happen with these DC projects. Again, like some good projects got made under him, but a lot of bad ones and a lot of bad faith decisions were made with him.
Yeah,
I agree, Grayson. I do want to see that. I do like Flashpoint Batman.
You want your Jeffrey Dean Morgan Thomas?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Like if he shows up with the Flash, like, hey, it's a Flashpoint movie. That's cool. I like him.
That has been the rumor for a long time, that Zack Snyder was going to do a Flashpoint Batman movie or something. Yeah. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was even saying like, yeah, I'm definitely doing it. And we're all like,
felt more like a threat.
Really?
Zack, no.
I feel like, Grayson, if that is going to happen, it would have already occurred for the Flash film, and we'll find out when it comes out.
Yeah.
True. Because that's Ben Affleck's last appearance, so theoretically the last connection to.
Oh my god, it's a good point. It's a good point.
And that is Flashpoint. So
I hope that's in that movie then, actually.
Yeah. So, man. All right. The Batman. There is other Batman news. The Batman. The Gotham PD series that we heard a little bit about. We kind of heard it had turned into an Arkham Asylum series, or it was just dead. It is still in development. It's a separate thing from the Arkham Asylum series, so there are now, I guess, 3 spin-offs in development, including Penguin.
Arkham Asylum, Gotham PD, even though they said the Gotham PD actually became an Arkham Asylum because we thought that made sense, and now they're saying, no, wait, never mind, we're going to make them all.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, right. I'll take it. Give me more Batman.
Antonio Campos, who was the creator of The Staircase, I believe, TV series, will direct and showrun the Arkham Asylum series. So they got a director for that.
Cool.
Matt Reeves is apparently meeting with writers and directors for spin-off movies and shows that will be focused on the Batman's Rogues Galleries. So the names that are tossed around are, Scarecrow, Clayface, and Professor Pig, which are
Professor Pig, Grant Morrison.
This is all great. I am super thrilled about it. I would really, really prefer, if going forward, the main DCU stuff that involves Batman is all Batman showing up in other people's stories.
Sure.
Or other members of the Bat family. I don't want more Batman focused media if we're getting this much in the Batman, which is great.
Yeah.
I want the main DCU to not feel also cluttered with Batman.
No, I will agree with that.
We have enough
Batman. The words Professor Pig, and I'm just like, I'm celebrating.
We have enough Batman stuff in the comics, and we know Batman's the most popular DC hero. I would be totally fine with Batman showing up in other people's films.
What was really interesting, so in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, they actually couldn't use Batman as much as they wanted to. He's not in every episode of the show. He's in most, but he's not in every episode. And his Rogues Gallery is never in the show except for one instance. And then the and that was because the Batman was airing. So we could be essentially seeing like a live action version of that, where we've got a ton of Batman stuff. You get it, Batman, you get it. Here's a different Batman though in this universe, like Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah. I question how much of these are all 4 villains are getting 4 TV shows. I wonder if it is more like a and they just haven't said it. It is more like a Marvel special presentation thing, where it's like a short film about Professor Pig.
I've wondered this as well
because I can't. I love Professor Pig. He's a crazy Morrison villain, but like, I don't need four TV shows about random villains.
Honestly, that's a great way to go. It's like a lot of those nice tight stories, but just making more of them because you can, and just like really fleshing out the world of the Batman and all the characters that we can get there and that whole cast. And I think that's great, and leave it in that pocket.
Yeah. It just seems like a lot of stuff.
I think I also wonder if this is what they did with The Trench when it was revealed that it was actually a Black Manta movie. Is this something? Are these something else that they're not telling us? Are these like a Nightwing movie or a Batman or a movie?
Or like a secret James Gordon project that's called Professor Pig? Yeah. That's actually pretty smart. Like Renee Montoya does this villain. That's actually we could be over something.
Did you say James Gordon?
Well, Jim is short for James.
No, I know. I heard James Corden.
Oh God!
So I thought you were saying, like,
hello, Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Oh, I would die.
That was a nightmare scenario. I lived in
my
for
God.
a second.
No, but James Gordon Jr., who is a serial killer son of Jim Gordon, has no reason that he couldn't show up and mess with his pops.
I actually wonder. I would love it if. Look, we're never gonna get this. The Batman is unfortunately too grounded for a Clayface serial killer movie where he changes his face made out of clay.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
That'd be cool.
If you want to pay $70 for a mediocre experience, you can see that in Gotham Knights out right now.
I heard not great things about that. It's fine. I need to save it for God of War anyway.
Yeah,
Grayson's right. Batman doing a bunch of Stan Lee like cameos in a ton of properties, and then like having his Hulk like appearances in mainstay.
Hey,
pieces.
Suicide Squad, bad movie. Batman just showing up to punch some dude. Harley Quinn in the river. I'm into that.
Yeah, and then of course Grayson has to talk about a Nightwing movie.
Yeah, God, you know how much I love Dick. Yeah, I love Dick Grayson.
Don't we all love Dick?
Always. This is my favorite.
Trailers.
Oh wow! Thank God.
Sparks, why don't we talk about the Santa Clauses?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
It's just not what I expected them to give us in terms of a story.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how little we are getting to see.
Cal Penn.
Thank you, Cal Penn. In this.
Can I be honest, y'all? Even though I don't care about Santa Claus, I still didn't think this was a very good trailer.
Yeah.
That's just me. I thought the jokes were pretty generic. I thought it was a generically shot trailer. Tim Allen's back.
Wait, Cal Penn is in the Santa Claus movie?
No, he's in this new show.
He's in this.
Oh,
he's going to be like the new Santa Claus, but we barely see him.
He's literally the guy in the first shot of this trailer.
He's with those kids.
Oh.
He's not in it a lot, which is weird.
Okay, yeah, because
it's confusing because everybody's assumed, though it hasn't been said, that Cal Penn is the person taking over Santa by the end of this, so that if they did more Santa things in the future, it would be Cal Penn. They have not said that's what's happening, so it's interesting.
They might be avoiding that in the
It's interesting in this trailer that he retired and put someone else in the job, and I don't think it's Cal Penn, so I'm wondering who this other person that he puts in the job is going to be.
Yeah, it was interesting because like I had assumed from the first trailer, or just from the idea of what, just from like the idea was that he was retiring because he didn't want to die. You know, like I don't actually think the Santa Claus series wants to deal with the fact that most of the Santas that we know about have died before they passed on the Santa Claus. And I wonder, and I thought maybe like that's what they were doing. Like Tim Allen was like, "Hey, I'd like to live a life with my kids and not die, so I'm just going to retire." But the idea that he's retiring because like people are stopping to believe in Christmas.
Well, I think they're doing
which is from Elf.
That's a weird.
I think they're doing both, Brandon. I think that it is that he wants to have that life now. He wants to just be done. He wants to retire. And it is also him kind of being like, I've lost the magic for this. Yeah. That's really when anybody wants to retire from the job they have, right? Is the moment that it stops being what you wanted it to be, you want to leave.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense. I agree with Ryan. I just don't think it was a particularly well cut trailer. I'm still kind of in the dark on how I'm going to feel about it. We'll see.
It definitely feels like they're not showing Cal Penn on purpose. I definitely think his story is more central to it, and they don't want to spoil that. That's what it feels like.
But it's weird to not want to. It's weird to like the Santa Claus has the secrecy of a Marvel movie.
Or it's actually a big misdirect, and he's just I'm always going to be Santa Claus. Tim Allen's back, baby, and then we all cry.
I think he's gonna find out that like Cal Penn has more, like because of his relationship with his kids, has more of the spirit of Christmas inside of him than like anyone else Scott's ever met before.
Yeah,
even more than himself at this point. So he's like, you should really.
I just still lament the future that the Santa Claus was originally rated R movie, and those movies how different they would be.
Well, we're getting Deadly Night.
That's true. David Harbour.
Violent Night.
Violent Night. Yeah.
That's all. I love it.
To Be Hero X.
Yeah, this looks incredible.
I love this trailer. I mean, this one blew me away, and it was a decently long trailer, but the spectacle that I witnessed.
It's not even like a trailer. It's like a short film.
I don't care. Sign my ass
not a
up.
trailer.
It like teases up the concept at the end because you get like flashes of the characters you're going to be in. Like, there's going to be a tournament and contest.
It's like
to
a
be the
proof of
top hero.
concept.
Yeah.
Just I love how it changes animation styles, and it keeps and the way that X's power is. I'm like, this is amazing, and just how fluid. I don't want to talk about this trailer. This is definitely one of those trailers that you need to see it to believe it.
It's mixing 2D and 3D, probably better than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah,
but like that's the goal of the show is to be mixing these together. But like
having a character's power set designed around doing that is really
and like
special.
He's able to like turn the villains, like when he goes back into like the 3D world, like they
become locked in 2D.
They become locked in 2D on the wall like graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
Having that power set is so big. It's huge. So I'm curious what the show is going to look like as who its villains are. Because like almost like a One Punch Man, like how do you have any like threats when you can bend reality at your whim?
Yeah.
I think that's exciting.
I think that is kind of going to be part of the gimmick. Is like you kind of can't beat X.
Yeah.
But a lot of people want to strive to.
And it's a superhero show.
They've got such incredible beats. Like I really want to highlight because like it's a if you're not paying enough attention you won't catch it. But when he traps like one of these dudes that he's fighting, he traps in a plank, and he flips back into the from the 3D world, he picks up the plank with the guy trapped inside of it. He flips back in the 2D world and throws the plank, but he's now throwing the guy at the other guys.
Yeah.
And that's how he can change between those things and change how they react in the physics of it is so smart. This is also very notable because it's coming from a Chinese animation studio, which is rare. We usually are getting big anime ideas like this coming from Japan or Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So the premise for the show is in the really quick subtitles at the end. Which is that the most powerful hero in the world or in the city is the one that the people most believe in. So it's like their belief is creating a more and more powerful person. So if people believe that X is the most powerful hero in the world, he is. And so all those characters we see in the kind of the flashcards that we see in the movie, in the trailer, are people who are going to be vying for that top spot to have people believe in them more than X. To usurp X. I think it's pretty cool.
It is cool. And like there have been so many like superhero animes come out. Like my first one that I watched before My Hero and before One Punch Man was Tiger and Bunny, which is a reality, like a live reality television show about superheroes, like fighting crime, almost like Big Brother. So like we're like every year we're getting a new superhero anime. And the way that they're able to keep it fresh and it's not just, oh, we're fighting each other, is really cool. And this just looks like wild and it's like so beautiful
and very special because like it can only be made in animation and it can only be made at this point where you can master 2D and 3D.
This definitely feels like a Arcane, like this took 6 years to make, so like don't ask for the next season as soon as it's out. It's forever to make. This is incredibly promising.
Sonic Prime.
This animation looks really good. I'm hoping that this is not the whole story of the season. I don't want to only be in this place.
Or he's an isekai where he goes to another world.
Yeah. I hope that it's got something more going on than just that. This I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it too. Even so, like it still looks like a higher level Sonic show than most.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of underground vibes. Would you say also, Ben?
Yeah. I'm feeling that too.
It's not a bad thing. That is a cartoon where Sonic had two friends who don't exist anywhere else in the canon.
Two siblings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Two two characters, and they were part of a punk band essentially that fought against Eggman, living in the rock underground. It's cool. It has style. It's fun. This reminds me a lot. This place they go to reminds me a lot of trying to capture that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how it's a different universe where you see like the characters we know and love. Like Amy is kind of like Buddy Rabbit in a way where she has cybernetic enhancements. Everyone's like a little tougher, but they still want to go up against Eggman. I'm digging this, to be perfectly honest. I also kind of hope that this is like a 1 season thing. So if we get more seasons of Sonic Prime, we get more, and this isn't where we're stuck the whole time. So
I don't want Sonic X again, but now it's in this underground world.
Yeah, exactly.
You get me. You get me.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that. I got you.
Yeah, I'm still down. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna have fun with this. So I mean, I'm hoping it's good, but so far I'll enjoy this.
My thought was that it seems like the other characters besides Sonic went somewhere else. So I'm wondering if we'll see those somewhere else's, because I think he's meeting the characters of those versions of them in this world.
Yeah.
So his friends went to other places, and I wonder if we'll get to see some of those adventures as well.
Oh my god, it's just like isekai after isekai.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Poker Face. Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. Really great that Ryan Johnson's doing it. This looks like a hell of a cast. I don't have a lot else to say about it because it's a very short look.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It is more of a look. I wouldn't even call it a good trailer because it's just like he's
Very
making a
tiny
thing.
teaser.
Look who's in it. Cool.
I had to scroll through a few music videos to get to it, but it looks pretty cool.
It's really cool. That's like, you know what? I like making murder mysteries. What if I do a whole TV show? What if I just do a whole TV show about a detective lady? And I'm like, hell yeah, Ryan, you found your groove. You like
this show. This show reunites him with Joseph Gordon-Levitt for the first time in years. And I'm really happy to see that. This is also going to be, every episode is a standalone murder mystery. And I think that's really cool.
Brothers Bloom, because Orlando it's got a very large nose. Adrian Brody's in it.
Yes.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah. I really like who we got on display. It's Ryan Johnson. I'm excited. This is great.
Hell yeah. Peacock.
Yeah. $18.99.
Yeah.
This
Yo,
looks
man.
creepy.
Yo, man, it's the past. We got a ghost ship.
I saw the Ghost Ship movie, and I always wanted a better execution of that idea. So I'm stoked that we're getting one.
Yeah, because that opening, the opening of Ghost Ship is like the best 5 minutes of an opening ever in a horror movie, and then the rest of the movie happens.
Is that the one with the wire that cuts off
Yes,
everyone's head to
yeah.
the little girl? Yeah.
Iconic shit. Yeah, this looks so. Dark is a show I have not watched. I've had multiple people recommend it to me because Twin Peaks is my favorite show, and people saying Dark is very mysterious and it is very Lynchian in the way it's made, and it's like very spooky. So like I have to watch Dark. This looks awesome. I love the vibes. I love, just like Dark. It is multi-ethnic. Like it is multiple languages, multicultural. It just seems like a really, really spooky, awful time aboard this lost ghost ship.
I love the idea of a haunted ship lost at sea. I've always kind of liked the idea of that. This reminds me of something, but I can't for the life of me figure out what. But it looks really good. I really enjoyed this trailer, and I really love the look of everything. Mm-hmm. How they've recreated like the spooky ship. That kind of uneasiness there is really, really cool.
Yeah, I like how like the first part of the trailer, like you don't really know what's going on like with the ghost ship, and then some dude starts doing like a seance prayer to like a demon or whatever. I'm like, what is going? Oh, come on, you don't do that on a ghost ship. Yeah, I'm very into
it. Willow released a new trailer actually this morning.
Minute look. I'm still gonna watch this show. Looks good.
So
it's a minute look, and the reason why I put it on here is because I was actually really surprised at how much new we saw in this minute-long look. Like this felt like it could have been a longer trailer, and I was surprised that it wasn't. Most of the footage in this hasn't been seen before, and we get a little bit more about the plot, kind of what the actual crux of it is. Someone is missing, and Willow needs to find them.
Mm-hmm. My memory on Willow is from when I was 12, which means it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm gonna rewatch Willow.
We all are.
And then, yeah, we all are. And then we'll watch the show. Good for Warwick Davis. Really cool that he gets to lead a big-ass Netflix show. Disney Plus show, excuse me.
Maybe that's next week's topic.
Is that next week?
No, I'm just saying.
No,
it could
it's next month.
When does Willow, the TV show,
the
come
end
out?
of the month. End of November.
It'd be
Oh,
good.
I like it.
That
To be,
might-
like to be closer to when that
It-
comes out. We'll talk.
But it would be a good way for me to watch Willow.
But we're gonna watch Willow, man.
Oh, we're doing
No,
it
no,
No
either
matter
way.
what.
We just wouldn't have to do a review special separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, we could either do. Man, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm
It
really
looks
excited.
good.
for this.
I'm excited.
Creed 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick. I'm sorry. Back to Willow. If Willow is a success, that is 3 high budget fantasy shows that came out this year that were all good, and that is I don't think ever happened in
And-
history of the world.
And 2 hits from Lucasfilm for Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, look at that. Hell yeah.
Creed 3.
I saw the first Creed, incredible movie. I didn't see the second one. I'm gonna fix that because Michael B. Jordan's great, and he's directing this one, and Jonathan Majors is in it.
I want to see the majors.
Looking just the most jacked I've ever seen anyone in my life.
I want to say it's
muscle,
partially
muscle.
because of the Marvel training, but at the same time, maybe not.
No, he doesn't. No, this is the Creed training.
No,
he got
no,
this big
he-
for Creed.
Yeah, he did this for Creed. The Marvel stuff is later. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but even like he doesn't need to be jacked for Kang.
No.
Like, yeah, Ant-Man's screwed, but he doesn't need to be like this jacked for Kang.
His suit's half CGI, and most of those people's suits are CGI anyway half time. But the thing that I love about this trailer is, you're making a third Creed movie, like sequel after sequel. Like, what do you bring to the table? The first ones are kind of about family, and this one it's about old friends. And like, do you stick with your friends when they've been through some shit and they might be a bad person? Like, Jonathan Majors was in jail for literally half his life, and he's out, and you want to help him. But what if he's still the bad person that he was back then, and he didn't actually grow? He looks so good in this movie. They both do, but Jonathan Majors specifically looks so sinister, and like I was in jail half my life. I'm gonna take everything that I deserve, and I'm like, you know what? You deserve it, baby. You deserve it. Punch that man.
Jonathan Majors is truly one of the most talented actors around right now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm stoked to see.
Man, what a
him in
1-2
this.
punch for this week or the past 2 weeks or whenever this came out for that guy. But yeah, this looks again like another exceptional. I don't care about sports, but I love a good sports movie. So
I love Creed. I really love the first Creed movie. I think the second one is almost as good. I really like that second film. I think the stuff they do with Draugr is great. Not Draugr. Drago is really great. Both him and his son. I think Sylvester Stallone is incredible in these in those 2 movies.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan is excellent. I'm really happy that Michael B. Jordan is stepping into the director's chair for this one, and I'm really, really excited that he decided to go into a more personal direction with Creed than what Rocky ended up doing for his sequels.
yeah.
And it's really nice to see that character like continue to be in this emotional realm. I am super stoked. This is one of my most anticipated movies of next year by far.
Yeah, and Michael B. Jordan being such an anime fan and like a sports anime fan, he's talked in interviews how like that influenced this movie. So like
You can feel it.
I'm so ready for like anime fights in this movie. I'm like anime boxing. Like
The way it does the setup framing of them when they're like in the trailer for their fight is like, yeah.
that's what's so fun about like big boxing movies is like the final boxing match is always like the most incredible looking spectacular show in like you've ever seen. Like all the lights, all the people, like boxing movies never look better than the final act.
I truly wish I could have gotten to see the Rocky the musical. Do you know about this?
I mean, I'm
for
familiar with it.
So for the final boxing match, they built this theater specifically to do this. The audience curved around the stage, so it was like they were at the boxing match.
That's incredible. That's pretty
That's
cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this movie, guys. I think the Creed movies are great. I really like the Rocky movies. I totally understand why Stallone's not coming back for this one, but I also don't think he's needed anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
Hell yeah.
Which one do you guys want to talk about next? Guardians or Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Ant-Man.
Okay, because Guardians is less to talk about.
Sure, that's true. Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Okay, Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Okay, Ant-Man. Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? Jonathan Majors is in this one too.
We want to see the majors.
Yeah.
So this movie looks very large.
Mhm.
But the thing,
Actually, it's quite small.
you're funny. This movie looks very small. The thing that I am not worried about is, despite it being so big, the anime movies are always good about being small and personal and like bite-sized good family shit. So like, despite it being the biggest in terms of like scale any of these movies have ever been, even more past the anime movies, like we're going like Quantum Mania, baby. We see a Kang army in Chronopolis. Like I saw a what's it called? Like a picture of like somebody draws and like Jesus Christ, concept art. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for being there for me. Concept art of Ant-Man fighting that big army. So I'm like, okay, cool. We're gonna have a giant man fighting a bunch of like inner gang bicycles. Cool. I'm just really excited for Kang. We know the movie's about like Kang hires Scott to do a time heist for something, and we don't know what it is. That's exciting. I hope it's just not a stupid MacGuffin. I hope it's not like one of the 9 rings.
Oh yeah. I love the Ant-Man movies. We all love the Ant-Man movies. Ant-Man and the Wasp is great. I'm really stoked for this. I think this looks really great. I love the setup of everything of just like, oh yeah, we figured out how we can like contact the Quantum Realm. And Michelle Pfeiffer's like, excuse me, what?
Why would you do that?
You probably should not do that. And then it all goes to bat.
I'm really excited to see more of the cast in the action. Like we get Cassie, of course, we knew she was going to be in this, but like Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer are seemingly going to be there for like most of the runtime of the film.
Yeah, it's nice that they all got sucked in.
Yeah, kind of crazy that this could potentially be the first Ant-Man film without any ants.
I bet
there'll be quantum-sized ants.
Some quantum ants.
Quantum ants.
I don't think they'll.
Or we'll see ants before they go in.
Yeah, it'll be the opening shots. Yeah.
I'm because it'll be like Cassie practicing with her suit for the first time or something.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Michael Douglas getting all butthurt and jealous over Bill Murray.
Oh God, yeah. That's definitely what that was about. Like, even if it wasn't like a real romance, it was definitely like they had a connection.
Right.
We definitely see Janet. Janet has some connection to Kang in some capacity. She knows about him or something. We see what I imagine is her seeing Kang fly into the quantum realm. We see a shot of like a ship breaking into it.
Can I actually make my guess about what I think might actually be happening? Is that she has no knowledge of Kang.
Oh,
she has knowledge of Bill Murray, who was running this space before Kang showed up, and that Kang is a wholly new and other dangerous thing to her.
Yeah.
I think that might be the case.
Okay.
I'm not willing to die on that hill. I just think that might be part of the thing. Is like they think they know what they're getting into. What they're getting into is Bill Murray. No, Bill Murray actually made a deal with Kang. Kang's what they're getting into.
So Kang, what you guys are suggesting is that Kang was stranded in the quantum realm in this time? Like this is where he's from?
So that's what I imagine. I think, again, just from the trailer, we see Kang fall into the quantum realm, and then he's been here building up his own army, doing his own thing, and she either ignored it or saw it and was like, it's not a big deal or something. Because like the way she's like, I saw something and I didn't do anything about it, and that's why we're in this situation now or something. But again, that's just trailer prognosis.
I wonder if time-wise this might be where Kang is before he gets to the TVA.
It's interesting questions.
Where is the TVA? Where is the TVA located? Because there was a rumor that it could be located in the quantum realm.
Because the quantum realm is so big, it's like the size of it's like a universe in itself. So like, there's no reason that the TVA could not also be there.
And because like let's just go with the notion that perhaps this is the same Kang that we will see running the TVA.
Yeah.
Let's say that those two are going to be the same one.
Yeah.
Because we know we're seeing some other versions somewhere at some point in Jonathan Majors doing all this, but let's assume that these two are the same.
Yeah.
I would posit that this is probably a Kang before he gets to the end of Loki season 1, where he's got his statue in the TVA and takes it over and everything. This is him before that. So when we get to season 2, we've gotten some idea of this guy in progression.
That makes sense.
Him being there.
Does he say the word conqueror in this trailer?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay.
Perhaps the thing he gets is the thing that allows him to get into the TVA.
Maybe
that's what the time heist is all about.
Yeah,
him getting power over the TVA.
They say they took something from me or something.
Yeah.
So like,
well, the man left behind, or the man at the end, or whatever Kang version he played at the end of Loki, created the TVA. I guess I just assumed that in this reality that Loki finds himself in at the end of season 1, that Kang created the TVA instead of took over it.
Could be.
Yeah.
I figured that he rewrote
history.
He rewrote history, and Loki was just getting back to it at the point that matched for where he left.
Yeah.
Like Kang had already rewritten all of it.
Sacred timeline. Sure. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm really excited. Happy to see Baskin Robbins back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I also love someone pointed out that they love the idea that like what's really happened is because people forgot who Spider-Man was and everybody didn't connect it. And so now like because Scott Lang has become so high profile, people will mix him up and say like, yeah, he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's a Buckman, yeah.
Like it's not just a screw up, it's like a genuine like people get confused about who Spider-Man is at this point. And they're like, well, Scott Lang's out there all the time. He's Spider-Man.
Gotta be, yeah. I
totally.
love Marvel's continuous trend of casting really funny actors from the television show I Think You Should Leave. There's the bald old man in this trailer. He's an internet sensation. And then also I didn't bring it up, but the friend who's getting married in She-Hulk, she's also from that TV show. So I like that they're picking great comedians from that show, putting them everywhere. Love it. I'm so stoked. I love the Ant-Man movies for being small. So I really hope it can still feel that way while being big. And I did do that on purpose.
As long as it feels intimate and personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't get much smaller than the quantum realm.
I think it will stay focused on prominently featuring a father-daughter story at the heart of it, which is Scott and Cassie.
Yeah. Because like once you start doing Kang stuff, like that's like Kang's big boy time. So like it could take big boy. It could take away from like the small story, but like I trust Peyton Reed. I trust.
Yeah. I have the 2 good Ant-Man movies to tell me that you can deliver a third, I hope.
Champ.
Want a juice box?
And a juice box?
You guys really got that?
Do you have that?
Those movies are good. You guys are mean.
Right? Those movies are great.
Everyone who thinks Ant-Man and the Wasp is bad is crazy.
Yeah.
I love that movie. William Jackson Harper has also been added to the cast of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Another great green down the drain.
Okay, like I'm also like Ryan, not convinced he's Reed Richards.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
It's weird that they cast him with all the fan casting about him.
It is.
It's weird that this is what he's showing up in, but I don't think he's Reed.
He's definitely not.
But here's the thing. I know you feel the same way.
Yeah.
I hope he's somebody relevant. I hope he's more than just a small appearance. He's such a good actor. I really want
the thing that worries me is,
and he's not a household name.
The thing that worries me is like they found like whether it's true or not, like they know who he is, and he's some shitty random quantum realm guy from the comics.
That's the fear.
No, that's who he is.
Oh.
How important he is to the movie is what I'm worried about.
Right.
Because I don't want. He's such a good actor. Like I don't want him to be in 5 minutes of an Ant-Man movie. I want him to be prominent. I want him to get paid, baby. You know what I mean?
Maybe he's doing the heist with him.
God, that'd be great. Yeah, but I just don't want him to be a cameo. That's
what the hell? What the hell is Luis gonna recap?
If Luis is not in this movie, we riot. I don't. We're gonna have issues. No matter how good that movie is, you do not.
I'm sure they make an appearance because they already said that they're not bringing back what's his name because of his abuse allegations.
T.I.
Yeah.
They're
not bringing him back. So,
Baba Yaga.
I'm assuming the other 2 are here because they specifically noted he's not.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga.
What if they go to the quantum realm also?
Oh, they're screwed.
Don't start with.
Don't tease me with a good time.
That's the beginning of the 3rd act. As they walk into the room where they all got ported, and they're like, "Oh, what happened here?"
Oh my god! and Baba Yaga man have to save the world.
It's Wayne Knight at the end of Space Jam.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my god, that would be a 10 out of 10 movie right there.
Making Kang have to sit in a room with Luis is special.
Oh my god, that's the end credit scene of my dreams. Just Kang like, so tell me about your history.
No.
Well, it started.
It's Kang gives him his history to him, and Luis is like, so let me recap that for you.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
I need to make sure I got it.
Can I just real quickly circle back to y'all are mean Ant-Man and the Wasp rules? Ant-Man and the Wasp is one of the most unique car chases I've ever seen in any movie ever, let alone a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It has a major flaw in my opinion, but otherwise it's really good.
It's a fun ass movie.
They keep the cars in Hot Wheel cases. That's funny.
The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Marvel twofer.
Finding out that this is about kidnapping Kevin Bacon was such a joy.
Right?
This is exactly what I want these kinds of specials to be. I would be so happy to get like we got all the Guardians here. Like I would be happy to get some of our main players more frequently for single one-shot adventures like this.
Yeah.
So good. I'm so excited.
I love the idea that Drax and Mantis actually care about Quill's happiness right now, and they're just like, let's go get him a present. I love Drax's jacket, by the way. I think that looks great. And the whole trailer. At first, when you're like, oh, they're on Earth, that's crazy. Never thought I'd see that after Endgame, and then you learn. I thought it was going to be David Hasselhoff, but Kevin Bacon is so much better.
Yeah,
It's so good.
It's so much better. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's so cute. Like, oh, Peter's sad because Gamora's gone. We got to make him feel better. Let's go kidnap his hero. It's so silly.
I almost thought it was gonna be David Hasselhoff, but then the second it's Kevin Bacon, I'm like, oh, I'm in this. I'm all for this.
Groot's looking like mid, like what is he, like a
Himbo,
like a mid teenager, or like he's like what, like 18 now maybe.
I think
young
he's
adult.
an adult now.
Yeah.
I think he's an adult now.
He's like a young adult.
Quite stocky.
He does look stocky, yeah. Just like lifting weights. Yeah. This looks like a lot of fun. You know, an hour more with the Guardians before we get their final movie or whatever. Like, beautiful. Love it.
I really love the credits for this movie where it's just like Drax, Star-Lord, Rocket, Nebula, introducing Kevin Bacon, as if he's like a brand new actor.
Yeah,
He's a brand new character to the MCU.
True.
I'm just so excited for that, to see that bursting into the window. It's like, Kevin Bacon, we're here to take you to our
Legendary Kevin Bacon.
And it's just like running away. I'm really excited for this. I thought this looks great.
Yeah, and it comes out in November, not December.
Yes, the release date was also really a lot earlier than I thought it would be, November 25th.
Ooh.
It's literally a month before Christmas. I thought it was going to be on Christmas.
Yeah.
So happy.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Let's talk about some demons.
That went well. I really liked that news section. But we are now here to talk about Henry Selick's latest movie, Wendell and Wild, on Netflix. Check it out. If you haven't seen it, full spoilers. You've been warned. Skip ahead. Pause it. Do the things that you do when we about to spoil something that you don't want to have spoiled. Do that. And if not, well, you've been warned. What do we think about that?
I got a bad joke real quick, guys. You know how I know this isn't a Tim Burton movie? There's people of color in it.
Ooh.
That's an original Riley-opolis right there, and I like Tim Burton. Boy, put some people in your movies.
You didn't have to murder Tim Burton on air like that.
No, I killed Wednesday.
Buried.
Buried Wednesday.
To be fair, Luis Guzman.
No. This year
He's changing.
30 years later, Tim, you're doing it. Thank you, Tim. Wendell and Wild. I had a great time. I think it's a not just a great new stop motion classic. I think it actually has a message that was completely unexpected and totally like, hell yeah, this is gonna raise a bunch of liberals. Hell yeah.
Yes, I also had a really great time. I thought it looked very good. I really enjoyed the character story. I was beyond pleased when I realized it was radicalizing the youths to understand that private prisons are wrong. I'm thrilled with it.
I loved how this movie looked. I loved how Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, they still got it. It never left them, but they still got it. I really did enjoy a lot of the characters in this movie. And I also I liked how what you think one character, like we'll talk about it later, but how one character might go one way, but they actually go a different way. And yeah, this is definitely a good time.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I was hoping to love it, but I liked it. I don't necessarily think I have anything really wrong with it. It just didn't really hit me the way I wanted it to. I really like the message at the heart of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really incredible that he made this like stop motion family film about how terrible the private prison industry is. It's kind of like how Speed Racer is all about how bad capitalism is, and it's wild that that's in that movie. I liked that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I will say that when the very clear and obvious Donald Trump stand-in appeared, I was a little nervous.
Yeah,
I
same,
thought
same.
oh, okay, what are we going for here? This feels like maybe this isn't quite fitting with what we're doing with the film. But then when you hang Private Prison on him, that character and his family, I was like, okay, totally like this, totally on board. I see it. I see the vision. There was no clearer, more direct way to instill into people's minds the kind of person that is running this system than making the contemporary comparison of Donald Trump. I get it.
Yeah,
it works.
And like we will see that, right?
Yeah.
Subconsciously, kids might not. They might not get it, but like they'll see that, and then they'll see a picture of Donald Trump and go like,
the bad man.
Wait, connections,
Right.
Media influencing me. Like,
yes,
I love it. We don't get many stop motion movies. I mean, we're getting more like we get some stuff on
this year. This year's pretty good. This year's got a pretty good stop motion. We got this and Pinocchio coming out later this year.
Guillermo, that's right, man. I think sometimes Netflix, you're doing all right. Yeah.
God damn, there's still a lot to come out the rest of this year.
I know, we only got 2 more months. Jesus. Yeah, I like the world. I think it is a really fascinating world where there's magic happening and and packs and demons and cults and blah blah blah, and like they give you just enough where like I didn't need them to explain more. Like they're doing some Blade stuff, they're doing like some Buffy stuff, they're doing some Beetlejuice stuff. Like there's a lot of other movies clearly in this movie, but it all feels of a tone, and like they don't. I never felt like I was missing anything. Like they didn't have to go more into the Hellmaiden stuff. Like I got exactly what I needed.
Sure.
I didn't need you to go, well, 500 years ago, I didn't need any of that shit. Like it just let me focus on the characters, and like you got the supplemental material as much as you needed.
I want to piggyback off that. I really love the look and effect of a lot of the Hellmaiden stuff. The mark on her hand when it glows and it speaks. I think that's all very evocative. And the sequence where she's bonded and going in and attacking her memories that are restraining her. And
it's like a big monster lady.
And but at its heart is the car.
Yeah.
And the car accident. I'm like, what incredible visual design that idea was to base all of her problems that she's created for herself, her obstacles around this core grief,
her guilt,
and the visualization of it I thought was so brilliant. And I also thought it was really cool how like never went 100% to say that it was Wendell and Wild.
So
it's implied.
So there's 2 worms that come out of her apple, right? And we see that happen multiple times in the movie. They don't show it once, they show it at least 2 or 3 times. So I thought it was potentially Wendell and Wild who caused that accident to happen. Through like this was like a pre-Destiny thing of that's how they get involved and how the story ends up happening. That's just we can read into that. They don't give you any more.
Right.
I like that read because it makes it way more sinister because they end up helping her in the end. So like I like that.
The worms faces, one has a long face, one has a short face.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I don't think it's any clearer than when they have that shadow image with the car and they appear on the right, and if you look, their faces look a lot like Wendell and Wild's in that image. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the implication is that they were the worms. We also get a note of like them mishandling something, but we don't know what it was. So I'm wondering if that's the thing, like what got them pushed down to the duty of like why they're a disappointment and working on their father's hair.
What just again, like incredible, just the incredible design and unique design of like these 2 demons are rejuvenating their dad's hair with like magic hair cream that also brings people back from the dead. Like there's so many crazy ideas. Also, like there's a Blade movie happening, but there's also Beetlejuice that happens. But also like she's Buffy the Vampire Slayer and she has like magical abilities. And I'm like, so many cool things happening in this movie. I think sister, I forget the sister's name, but
Sister Helly.
Sister Helly and her shadow powers. That's the coolest looking thing in the movie to me. Anytime she showed up and I'm like, tell me more. I want to know more about you.
I think something else I really value about the film is that it so heavily and prominently features many numerous adult characters who acknowledge and try to care for her at turns. Like we've got the person who's driving her in, we've got the sister, like all these people who are clearly as adults recognizing pain and recognizing something is wrong. They're not brushing it to the side. They're not saying like get over it. They're not ignoring it. They are directly tackling it and trying to engage with it.
Talk about an opposite of our book club. of like how you deal with
Yes.
a kid with dealing with
Yes.
trauma. Holy
Yeah.
shit! Yeah,
Ooh,
that's
right.
a perfect compare. That's a perfect.
And you
Yeah.
get it, and you get like obviously the parents for her are like that. It's a lot of the heart for her in the film is that her parents were those kinds of people, but it's also reflected in ultimately what they do with Wendell and Wild's dad, and even the guy, I forget his name right now. Sorry, the guy in the wheelchair.
I'll fuck it up.
Manfred.
Man something.
I think it's Manfred.
The way that he says like I will hunt and contain demons, Manberg. I will always
Manberg.
be against demons, but I'm not against family. And like there's this acknowledgement of like lines that you don't cross, ways that you care for other people. And I think that that's weaved into different character arcs in different ways very well throughout the film. But the fact that like specifically like the woman who drives her in and the sister both look at her and recognize trauma,
Yeah,
and try to find their own ways to give her, not push her out,
give her the resources,
but give her a hand.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of goes into one of the things that I noticed early on about this movie is that while yes, it is very much heavily part of the about the prison industrial complex, but it's also about how the foster system fails kids like her, how it basically feeds the prison industrial complex. You can draw a direct line from it.
Right.
And that's deliberate. That's capitalism trying to make that the case because those prisons need to make money.
Low income communities often have prisons near them.
Yeah.
Because it is a direct. We know where you're going to go anyway.
You have that.
Like, it's the shitty mentality. Yeah.
And
You
the
have
idea that like sorry, real quickly, and the idea that like what you're talking about, Sparks, that people are trying to kind of move her away from that system at various points in her life because they see that's the trajectory that they want her to go in, that the society wants her to go in, and so they're trying to like move her. They even say, they kind of like blatantly say that, how it's like, oh yeah, when we love your school, when the girls don't work out in the school, they'll come to prison down the street.
Yeah, and I think they do that. They give you the visual cues of like what that life like, and it's important that she comes back here and she gets that support system starting to reinstate itself, and she thinks what she really needs is her parents, but actually what's around her is enough.
Yeah.
But it's enough only because she went back to this place, right? Because where she was before was pushing her into that narrative that they wanted, right? Was pushing her into that system where it's set up for her to fail, and that's ultimately where she ends up killing the kid, and that's really rough.
Ben, you were going to say something?
No, I was going to say like the whole the direct line from like the group home, it even we don't really see what was there was a point about the group home that so in the memory flashback where she's finding her memories and you actually get to see the memories of what happens to her throughout after her parents die. When she's sent to the group home, I assume the group home, the main owner of said group home, her eyes instantly turn to dollar signs. So
that's what the remake of Annie is about, actually. Which is a weird poll, I understand. But like the idea that these group homes, a lot of the people in it are in it for the money because they get money from the government to help raise these kids, and so they don't. It's meant to be for the kids, but they take it on as kind of a career.
Yeah. Like the adult we first see, the one who's driving the car to RBC, you can tell she's like, I want this kid to be better. Like there's a true sympathy there. Like, this is the best shot.
Yes.
Let's get you out of that group home. And I didn't realize that she killed a kid. I thought she just severely hurt a kid. I didn't know she killed him.
I don't think she'd be going to juvie if she hurt somebody.
Yeah.
The fact that she's in a juvenile situation makes me think that the kid died.
Yeah.
They might have ruled it still as accidental, but I think the kid died.
I think it had to be severe enough where like, he sprained his ankle. You're not going to juvie for that. Like,
or at least paralyzed him or something.
Something bad. Yeah.
Yeah, something really bad happened when she defended herself and the kid suffered for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely tell that this is like after her parents died, just out of a pure tragedy, and she gets sent to this group home. She gets sent to juvie, and then she's in this home or she's in the school where she automatically detects, like when she's talking to the headmaster, whereas like, your school's running down. You just want me for the money.
Yeah.
Also as a note, just talking about like the kid, the killing the kid thing, it all shows up in like that montage of her traumas, right? And I don't think I think to Ryan's point, like I also don't think that really shows up as a trauma if she doesn't severely injure or kill that kid.
Yeah.
Like it's a
She wouldn't feel
traumatizing
about
moment for how she feels about what happened. And I don't think you necessarily feel that if they just like break their leg.
Yeah, because
Not that you wouldn't feel bad, but I don't think you feel traumatized.
you wouldn't be thinking about it the rest of your life of like you accidentally knocked some like I feel like the way she feels about it has to be severe. You wouldn't feel that guilt about it.
Yeah.
Good point.
I will say that I went into this movie expecting Wendell and Wild to be a smaller presence than what they were. And I liked how much they were in it. I do feel like it was maybe a little weighted away from our protagonist more than it should have been.
There's definitely a lot of the priest man, James Hong,
yeah,
who's awesome in this movie. I love his design of like his head gets like cratered in, and he's just like that is like one of my favorite designs of a character in a recent while. So mischievous, I hate him.
So that's kind of my issue with this. I don't think it's paced very well, especially in the beginning. I think it's very slow and a little hard and a little rough to get through. And then I think that once Wendell and Wild show up, I think we spend too much time with them. And I kind of like what we're doing with like the priests and them, but it kind of makes them feel like secondary characters. And I felt like they probably shouldn't have been, because I was much more engaged when we were with Kat.
Yeah, I do feel like maybe it's just a little imbalanced, and I do feel like the pacing is a little off in parts. Not the whole time, but in parts. The way that they roll out the introduction of the Klaxons and like giving us the information about the things they did is a little odd, I'll say.
Yeah, there was definitely a part where I paused halfway through the movie, and then I realized I had under an hour to go through. I'm like, damn, really? I thought I was almost done.
Yeah.
So there were some parts of the movie that I did feel like, man, this is kind of, is it over yet? Are we almost there?
There's going to be some traumatizing young images for kids of the parents in the car.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a really effective scene. And the fact that when we revisit it too, I thought that was really just like, it really hits you.
Yeah, and the again, like the imagination of this movie's Oogie Boogie, who is Buffalo Belzar, who's Ving Rhames, who wanted to build a ghost like mini amusement park on his belly, and his kids also wanted to be part of it, but like they didn't agree on it. But in the end, it all works out, and it's like I really liked the small story between like, because like they're his kids. That's so silly. Why are you making them clean up your hair? That's so silly. I love it.
They make a better dream fair, a fair that where people aren't tortured the entire time they're on it.
Yeah. And like the little mural of the dream fair is beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I think the animation in this is stunning. Just in general, I really love all the animation tricks he does. Here, the dream fair is gorgeous. I think it ends kind of abruptly with like, all my children were lost. Oh, here they are.
Yeah, I felt that.
I did feel like it was a little abrupt, but I liked it. I like that it happens. Like I like the kind of payoff that those demons that were stolen, that those demons that were that this person has are the other kids.
I like that too. And again, like going back to like it tying into that idea of like connecting to a, he's a literal like big demon boss guy, right? And he has more capability of empathy for recognizing family connections and how important that is than other characters who are our bad guys in the movie, right? Our real bad guys. And I think that it ties into the theme well. And I'd agree with you that it would be too abrupt if he was our villain, but he's not. He's just an obstacle.
Yeah.
And I think like the way they ended it, and the fact that they ended it while keeping with the theme of like family connections that they were going with, I think makes it work, because they're not our real bad guys. The Klaxons are our real bad guys.
For me, it just felt like setup and payoff, not some for more than anything. Because he is like a minor character, but I feel like.
Anything else?
It's really beautiful. I'm trying to remember some of the other more minute details of it. I think the way the sister travels is super cool. That's her power. Yeah. I really love the thing she gets to do when her parents are there and she shows them the vision of the future of the town and everyone coming back. I think that's really nice.
Yeah, I like the final battle between all the skeleton construction crew and our homies, like throwing water or throwing snowballs and shit.
Oh, I really like our trans friend Raul.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's present, that it's something that feels like it's there, but it's not like overbearing.
One of the most subtle inclusions of that, because like there's one mention of one of the bullies calling her Ramona. Oh, that's not your name, it's Raul. That's like,
and it's done sincerely.
It's sincere,
too.
Yeah. And they don't make a big deal out of it. It's just like, that's just a character who exists.
The other moment is like the mom on the phone, but you don't hear the person screwing it up. You just hear the mom saying, "No, my son. We've talked about this."
Yeah. It's all
because even then, when I saw Raul for the first time, I thought it took me a second. I was like, "Wait a minute, that's a boy," but we're an all-girls school. ... Oh,
yeah.
But it was actually going back to one of the characters that I actually at the end I kind of liked. It was Siobhan, the daughter of the Claxons, who. Because when you first meet her, I automatically thought, okay, she's going to be this bully. She's going to be completely insincere. And then as the film continues to go on, it's like, no, she actually is sincere. Mm-hmm. And then when she turns on her parents, it's like, okay. Like when she gets pushed and the brick falls, I was thinking, okay, this is the moment where she's like, no, you pushed me. It's like, hey, she just saved my life from this brick. It's like, what?
Character?
And even though she was calling her KK, and then when Kat said, no, I'm Kat, she instantly goes, okay, Kat, sorry. And it's
she's annoying, but she's sincere,
yes.
which it kind of throws you for a loop, because her archetype is generally not. And so when you see her for the first time, you think she's going to fall into the archetype of other similar characters like her immediately, but she doesn't. And it's actually a really nice diversion.
You meet her and you instantly think she's Regina George.
Yeah, 100%.
You're like, that's the Regina George, and these are the mean girls. But then as the movie goes on, it's like, no, she actually does care. And when she finds out about how bad her parents are, and they explain, it's like, oh, that's our entire business model, where we do the Break the Cycle program, but they don't, because it's then we come back into a prison. It's like, oh, they're assholes.
Which is also, I think, another intentional and important adult message, which is saying sometimes your older family members are wrong. And the things they believe in are wrong, and it's important to say, I don't agree with that, and stand against them.
This is one of those movies where, like, I don't think it's like the greatest movie ever made, but like I think its message is so good and it's so strong for kids, and it's something that we don't often see. Where I wish this was like in big theaters. Like I wish this were a bigger profile movie, because like it might have like a big weekend, but like it's a Netflix movie, it's gonna get buried, just like everything else eventually gets buried. And I think this movie is better than getting buried.
Right.
It was number 9 on the most popular Netflix list this week, but you're right. That's still low on the list.
That goes back to what I talked about before when we talked about The Witcher, which Netflix's schedule this year has been awful. They bury so many things that they shouldn't bury.
Every single day, basically.
And so something like this, stop motion films don't do well in theaters.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason they don't. And I think this film had a larger chance of doing very well on Netflix. What?
Because of Jordan Peele.
Right. Putting this on Netflix, I think inherently wasn't a bad idea, because if this was released with a good good lead room leading up to Halloween. You have nothing around it. Like this could be your big reveal, but because there's other things that came out this weekend, like School for Good and Evil.
Yeah.
Well, you just kind of lose it in the shuffle.
I'm just saying, like, this movie coming out around October, this movie has Angela Bassett in it, who's about to be in one of the biggest movies of the year with Black Panther. Like, Jordan Peele is the hottest horror director around. Henry Selick hasn't made a movie in a decade. Like, this has all the writings for me to be in theaters.
And people just like when Key and Peele get together anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, I feel like even though, it wouldn't make as much money in theaters, it still I think has a better chance with everything that's involved with it behind the scenes.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I was just agreeing with Sparks saying that I am one of those people who always get excited when Key and Peele get back together.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
I was just saying, I really love stop motion films. I would have seen this in theaters.
No, I was sorry, Sparks, but what Brandon was saying earlier about how stop motion films don't get a lot of money in theaters, I'm like, that's a crime against humanity. With all the people claiming how much they love Night Before Christmas, go see freaking stop motion films in theaters, damn it.
To be fair, that movie's like 30 years old now, Ben. So
yeah, I know, but still,
it's also super important that this is Black people in stop motion, which is rare to non-existent.
Yeah, 100%.
So I also think that could have worked in its favor for a theatrical run.
I think Jordan Peele's name alone with Nope this year like a new animated movie from Nope, the director of Nightmare Before Christmas. Like this feels like it could add at least one good weekend.
Yeah. Before we get down another rabbit hole about things, I did want to say that I really like the use of just the council members, the idea of them, their design, the presence of them.
I love them.
The whole cleaning them up sequence I think is fun. Them going in and turning the portraits around.
That's my favorite moment.
I think is really great.
I love that moment.
And them being like, I guess we have to let them.
Yeah, it's like rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
No, they're living.
There's something I just want to mention that I think is really interesting about the animation. So Leica, I talk about Leica all the time. I love them. They pioneered stop motion with like creating different faces. So what they do is they have like a line here and then different facial features. They'll like plug in different faces for different mouth movements. Henry Selick adopts that. He uses that because he used it in Coraline. He uses it in this one. But what I found was interesting, and I'm sure this is a stylistic choice that, again, just interesting, that Leica goes in and digitally removes the lines
And he
from
left
there,
them.
and he leaves.
I noticed that too.
I honestly like it. I prefer it because like
Yeah.
I know they're puppets.
It felt tactile.
Yeah, like it's like you're gonna remove a line. Oh no, they look real now. Like I know they're puppets. Like it is. I really liked it. Whether you did it or not, like it's the same good movie. Like I like seeing them as puppets.
Yeah, I
That's
just
a
thought
cool
that was
idea.
interesting because some of them have larger gaps in the lines than others. I was so fascinated by that. I was like, wow, you can really see how they replace the faces in the dialogue scenes.
Yeah, and I know we've said it again and again, but like the stop motion is so smooth. Like it's like this is like some of the best stop motion like I've ever seen. Like it is like specifically like in stop motion when people are wearing like fuzzy sweaters, you always see the fuzzy riffles and stuff. Like this movie was so streamlined and smooth. It was whether it was digitally done and afterwards or not, like it was incredible. Flawless looking. I loved it.
Did you guys see the post credits?
I did, yeah.
Did we?
I saw it.
Nope, we didn't. What is it?
There's a little clip at the end of post credits, similar to what Leica does, but it's someone, a lead animator. It doesn't look like Henry Selick, but he's like, "Hey, I'm hearing a noise in a different room. It's like it's cell phone screens. I'm hearing a noise in a room." And they go into a different room, and you just see the animated stop motion cat look over the thing and then walk away, kind of making a little fun little skit. It's cute.
That's
cute.
I liked all the concept art that we saw during the credits.
Did you catch Jack Skellington in the?
Yes, I did.
In the credits, I thought that was cute.
Yes, I did.
When we're kind of zooming through all the skeletons in the credits, one is clearly Jack Skellington.
I didn't catch that. That's awesome.
The one other thing I really enjoyed about this movie is how different the soundtrack was. Even when Kat's doing her transformation and she turns the school uniform into a punk uniform, I thought that was really cool. The Cyclops, the boombox, and
I love her big aggressive boombox.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that, and I love her parents too. Even when they come back, I think how awesome would it be? Like different universe. Like if her parents survived the car crash, her dad owns a brewery, her mom runs the library. I would be living in Rust Bank, going to the Brews for Books thing the entire time because it's like I get to drink and I get to read. This life is good.
Yeah, they were great parents, and like the moment where like you see like the skeletons like start like discombobulating, like oh no, it runs out my parents, and then they have a sweet moment. I'm like, oh man, I know this is coming, but it's still good.
And I really like her making the decision, like the cream will be used for witnesses, not for her parents. Like she's accepting he has to let them move on.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the music, Ben. The final battle has one of my favorite songs from an indie artist called TV on the Radio, a song called Wolf Like Me, and I've never heard it in a movie before. And it blew my mind because just, man, Jordan, you got good taste in music, my guy. God, good. Love it. Great sequence.
I even love how Raul is just rocking out to the record player, and then he notices is like, oh shit, like my friend's parents are getting kidnapped. And just bolts and leaves. And the music choices were great. The entire aesthetic of the movie was great. The animation was absolutely stunning. But I do have to agree with Brandon with story-wise. I like this movie a lot. I love all the aesthetics about it. I love the music choices of it, but the story itself, I don't know. I was trying to pinpoint any criticisms I have, but I really don't. But at the same time, the story didn't even grab me. The same night I saw it, I was talking about it with Fanny on my car ride home from my party, and there are parts of it that I forgot. And I don't want to say this movie's forgettable. It's clearly not. Just the animation will stick with you for a while. But if I was to write exactly what happened, I would probably forget a good chunk of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a bummer, because while I would say it's like, yeah, definitely go watch it. It's a good spooky movie, but it wasn't a spooky movie that really just like grabbed me, you know? Does that make sense at all? Am I just rambling?
No, I don't. I wouldn't. I mean, this is a Halloween movie. I wouldn't call this like a horror spooky movie. It's more like Halloween vibes.
Yeah.
Spoopy.
It's spoopy. Yeah, it's spoopy. There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
like I don't think this movie's going out to haunt you. It's a stop motion kids movie.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't want to say that.
Why not?
No, I don't have a fully formed thought there.
Oh, okay.
So like I'll just move on to something that I think that the names are really cool. I really like the names of a lot of the characters and places. My favorite being Beelzebub. I think that's brilliant. Whoever thought about that, well done, Henry Selick. I love it.
Yeah.
This is you have to pull the string whenever it talks.
Right. That was
So
good.
that was cute.
Haunted teddy bear.
Yeah. Mike Manberg, who's our Whistler Blade character with the sister. That's a Blade movie that we didn't get to see, her origin story.
Right.
That's fun. I thought that guy in a wheelchair was real fun. Just collecting demons. Doesn't know that he's stealing children. Yeah,
Anything else?
I am super glad this movie gets to exist. I do wish it could have been in theaters even for a limited time, just because movies like this, they deserve to be on the big screen.
Shall we rate it?
I believe we should.
Wendell and Wild, they get a 9 out of 10.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah. I would probably go with an 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna go a little bit lower. I gotta give it a 7 out of 10.
That's fair. I really like it.
yeah, it's under Coraline for me as far as his films go. I would also give it a 7.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Shall we get into our book club?
Let's book it.
Sparks, are you ready?
The answer is yes.
I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
Yeah, you did. I'm like, why you ask me a question if you're not going to let me answer it?
Sparks, take it away.
Okay, we're doing really, really nice little short piece. It's called The Closet, written by James Tynion IV and art by Gavin Fullerton. It is a piece about a little boy who's very traumatized by something he fears, and having his, specifically his dad, just not step up and recognize the issues going on with his son whatsoever. And I thought it was a nice little story. Really depressing.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
In a pretty severe way.
I love
The dad is a pretty quintessential, well captured character who, like, everything going wrong is everyone else's fault but mine.
Yeah, blames everything else except his own. Yeah, I hold on. I took a picture of it. I absolutely adore this. My only issue is that it wasn't longer, because I could have used more misery, because misery breeds company, or whatever they say. Let me see the picture that I took. Oh, it's so far gone. I lost it. Maybe I didn't take a picture. Got it. One of the first things in this book, he's like, because he goes to the store to buy tape. And he's like, oh, I had to stop and get a drink first. And he's like, this way I'll come in the end and I'll tape everything up. I'll be the hero at the end of the day to build boxes to move. And the guy's like, you can't build boxes without tape, though. And he's like, yeah, I guess not. That's the whole thing. Without a good foundation for you to help, everything's going to crumble. And boy, howdy, are you a bad dad. Holy shit. I love this. I love this. James Tynion, everything he's ever made horror related is incredible. It's probably the strongest stuff that he does. Like he does great superhero shit, but like with razor blades and like this stuff, like he's knocking it out of the park. This is such a man. It is so sad and so real, and like it's not about a monster. Like that's what I love about this. Like you see, well, I mean, you know what I mean. It's not about a real monster. It's about the monster that you are. And this is the type of story I love in comics. Like this is a perfect little 3-issue thing. Again, I just wanted more just because like I could live in this gross world more just because I like this shit. I love this short little story.
Yeah,
so sad.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those things where I thought I was going to zig, but instead it zagged. And when I saw it was only 3 issues, I was like, okay, cool, short read. And there are times it was like, all right, cool, this is good. And then I started getting into it. I was like, what's going on? And then it wasn't until like the final bit when I realized and how the closet and the monster pertains to this kid. And I'm like, whoa, that's deep.
I was waiting because I knew there was a connection somehow. I just didn't know how. I knew there wasn't a real monster from pretty early on. I just wasn't sure how it was going to manifest. And it was way worse than I could have imagined. Being the actual father, hiding your infidelity from your wife in your son's room. This is one of the most human stories about monsters you can ever imagine. This is real horror shit. This is the type of shit that keeps you up at night. Not like vampires, like human being monsters. To write this type of thing, you have to like have such a craft. And like James Tynion is a guy who talks about this, like he has depression. He knows how to write some seriously sad shit. And like the way he channels characters is the way he channels sad characters is unlike any other author in modern times I've seen. Because he just doesn't mind reveling in how sad things can be. Where a lot of people like to run from it. And sometimes it's okay to live in the misery because that's how life is sometimes, especially when you're an asshole. Brandon.
Ben, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Okay. I liked this. I thought this was cool. I like I like how it flows. It's it's paced very well. For just being basically 3 issues of mostly dialogue pages.
Yeah.
And mostly static dialogue pages. Like the second issue, a lot of that issue just takes place in the same space. There's no movement. It's just 2 people talking on a car.
Yeah.
I think it's paced very well.
Mm-hmm.
I dug it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I really like the main characters that we get to see him really interact with in the second and third issue, which is his best friend and then the stranger on the car, who's dying of cancer, and he's like, you would have known like how my life is if you bothered to ask like once.
These are such incredibly well written conversations. Like this is some of the best like just like human horror dialogue I've read in a long time. Like it's so brutal because again, like the dad is he is so like he does not see anything in front of him. He just never sees what's in front of him. He's always like, oh, like he's the quintessential like bad man. And it's so well realized. And he's always just like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'll do better next time. Oh, I didn't think about yeah, it's always an excuse every single time. You're never gonna get better. And look what happens. And it's like, Jesus, man.
I really like the part of the conversation on the car where he's saying, the stranger is telling him that, oh, it's really nice what you're doing for your boy. My dad took me on a trip like that when I was little and I was bored out of my mind, but I'll remember that shit for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
which is really, and he's like, what if I'm doing it wrong? And it's like the part that you're doing wrong isn't the part of like doing the thing. It's just
being there. Being there.
Yeah. And I thought that was just really well executed in all of it. It's really rough to watch the child like going through what they're going through, like trying to scream for help and not being able to, and grabbed by this monster that essentially does stem from the father.
The art is so good, and again, it's a very simple comic, but like just focusing on the human characters and their faces, it's just real. It's real hardcore emotional shit that James Tynion is just such a treasure when it comes to this kind of stuff. He is like the indie darling right now, man.
Go ahead, Sparks.
Go ahead. No, please.
Well, I was going to say that I like the idea that this kind of demon creature represents of like how kids in basically unhappy homes like internalize that and externalize that. Like this kid feels hopeless watching his parents just yell at each other all the time, and like the dad is like, it's gonna be better in Oregon, it's gonna be fine in Oregon, I'll be fine in Oregon. And it's the same old thing. And that's kind of like the idea of like the closet follows this kid because what the dad is running from is following him no matter how many, like he says in the third issue, like the guy says, like, you can't run away from that. For Fresh Start doesn't exist.
Yeah. Like the inciting incident of how the monster is created is it's so well done. Oh my god. Like I love it so much. Of the dad bending over, and the reason all this happens is because he tries to hide from his son so his son doesn't see him. So when like, oh, is there something there? There's not actually something there. So it all becomes real. He actually did see something that wasn't there. And his father has to go along with it. And you can't sleep in our room. He created this all himself. And it's never taking accountability for your own life and just like pushing it aside. Like, oh, we'll move. That will fix it. We'll get a new thing. This will fix it. Like you can't fix it if it's broken. Right. You have to get a new thing. And this man is fundamentally broken. And I just,
even says it when he
so
talks
well realized.
He even says when he talks to his wife when because they walk in and she's looking happy and he's he's like, okay, we're back, and then things get bad and really quickly because like he says, really, you really want to bring this here?
This is how you want to start it.
Yeah,
this is how you want to start this.
Yeah, because he mentions that the movers must have took the bag, like his son's bag, and then she's like, I've been unpacking, there is no loose suitcase, and he goes, and he's like, oh no, and she's like, how long have you known about this? And then the second he says, is this really how you want to start? The instant they started yelling,
yeah,
and you see Jamie upstairs crying, and it's like, there it is. That's the source.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, and just there's nothing more tragic than like that ending, but also like the shot where the dad goes back into the hotel and the kid has the monster on top choking him and crying for him, and he's just like totally like,
and it's like, oh, we'll deal with it in the morning, whatever.
Yeah.
That's probably the most brutal page. That's insane.
Yeah. Or even the small shot of where you see tears down Jamie's eyes, but like you don't see his eyes, you just see the tear streaks, and then you hear the dad say, I'm sorry, and it's like yelled at him again. And it's just been a horrible, miserable road trip for the both of them. And then once they get to Oregon, it all continues to fall apart.
And it's again, like the dad, like he doesn't have to be so antagonistic. Like him saying, this is how you want to start it, is him starting a fight. He could have just like actually been real, like, I messed up, I'm sorry.
And he's so good at that. Like he's so good at being written as this character who, he's being antagonistic, but he's saying it in a way where he can shirk the blame away. Like, that you're putting that on me and that wasn't me. Like the really good bit where she's like, I can't believe you did that, and he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you spun it so that it sounds like it's my fault. For, I think I have it here, hold on, you made it my fault that he couldn't sleep with us. For the way that it was, because you said like, oh, I need you to do something, so that's why he can't sleep with us, and you made it my problem, not your problem.
I think my favorite issue is probably the second one, because it's just the issue of just him talking with his friend and his friend just calling him out and all this shit.
I was gonna highlight
it's so
because like
good,
the part where he's like, are you just this much of a disaster in general? He says, I am this much of a disaster in general. Ha ha ha. And then he's like, what? And he's like, you're acting like I'm joking. I'm not joking. I've had that conversation with a person.
100%.
Like I've been in this conversation literally with like words adjacent to those words of like, no, really, like what?
And because again, if he is not a good enough friend to keep checking on his friend, and so his friend at this point is like, I'm just gonna be real with you because like you're not even my friend anymore. Like who? I don't even know you. Like you're just an asshole. Are you gonna fix your shit? It's not funny. Yeah. Like
you won't do your call. You won't do any phone calls with me. So I gotta just lay it all
exactly.
Right
yeah,
here.
you won't talk to me, and it's like you brought your son here.
It's like this.
How you treat your son.
It's like this pent up like aggression that his friend has, because like his friend, it's coming from a place that his friend cares about him, but he clearly sees that there's something wrong. And if the guy had stayed in touch, it would have been a constant conversation that he and his friend would have, but in a much softer and a much simpler way, much more digestible way. Whereas now, the guy's like, I just got to front load all this. This is all that's been pent up. You're getting it all right now.
Yeah, because I never get to see you. Yeah. It's amazing how much. Excuse me. It's amazing how much 3 issues can achieve. And again, the ending being like nothing, it's only going to get worse for this kid.
Yeah.
Like it's only going to end with him being choked out by a demon or something, like a fake demon or whatever. It's the type of shit like this is like again, like there's a comic called The Silver Coin, which is an anthology about a little evil coin that just goes from issue to issue, having different people. I'm like, I just love small self-contained horror stories so much because it's like horror is the perfect medium for short, contained little monster stories. I love it so much, and this is such a beautiful little. You get your monsters, but you get your real human monsters too, and you get your drama and your trauma and I thought this was a beautiful little 3-issue package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, I'm really glad that everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, James Tynan, just write more horror comics. Leave these things.
Ben,
Yeah,
do you know what your book club is next week?
not right now.
Cool. All right, so stay tuned for that dropping on Instagram sometime this week, probably Twitter if I can remember that app exists. Okay, next week. Not sure. You heard us discuss Willow. We've discussed other things. We'll probably figure out what we're going to do next week before the episode, so stay tuned for that. Until then, guys, like this video, subscribe to this channel. You can check out all sorts of shows on this channel. If you do that, you can check out our Fake Nerds Watch series. Hey, there's 2 episodes linked below in the description. Andor and Lord of the Rings. Andor is going to continue. I think that's it. I think that's the only show left we got doing.
That's not true.
We still have a House of the Dragon wrap up for the
Dragon.
season to come.
Yep.
You're right. I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Basement Arcade. You can check out some of the Basement Arcades. It's Halloween, guys. It's Happy Halloween. It's Halloween right now, and at least the Western Hemisphere. You can check out probably in all the hemispheres. How does time work? You can check out the Spooktobers. 4 Spooktobers: Layers of Fear, Resident Evil Village, Five Nights at Freddy VR, and the Slender. You can check out all those in the description below, or you can just check out the rest of the show. Basement Arcade Pause Menu, you got the quarterly in the description, and a new episode. Ben teased a new episode of Basement Arcade Pause Menu coming soon. And Fake Nerd Book Club and Animation Station are also shows that are on this channel. You can check out if you like this video and you subscribe to our channel. Mag in the chat, hello, sir.
Thanks for sticking around the whole time, my guy. You're the best.
Good night.
He says good night. Grayson as well. He says
too,
thanks so
Grayson.
much. Always enjoy listening.
Yeah, you guys the best. Thank you.
Also, by the way, Grayson Live plays the Invisible Man in D and Dark, which is down below.
That's true. You can check out our Patreon and our TeePublic if you'd like to support us financially. If you like what we do and you want to see us do more, the easiest way to do that is to buy our merch or subscribe to our Patreon, which are linked below. Or you can find those on our website at fakenerdpodcast.com, which is also linked below. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live show. And thank you to everyone who watches the rewind. We greatly appreciate all of your support. We love you guys. You're great. You can check out Jamie Vellucci, who did the music for all of the musical themes you've heard here tonight. All the musical themes we have on all of our shows. That's him. Jeremy Vellucci _ Wreck of Time is his thing. His new album is out, right?
Yeah, it's out.
His album, Wreck of Time, the Wreck of Time band, and his album is From Sand Part 2. Check it out.
Yeah, they're still releasing music videos, but the album is out.
Hell yeah.
And you can find his podcast, Suburban Proctologist, on iTunes or Facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official or Instagram at SubProc Podcast. Mike Matola, who's done some wonderful collaborations with us. We love Mike Matola. And he just finished a mummy print. Hint, hint. And did some of our logos for us. We love that man. You can find him on Instagram and TikTok at Mike Matola. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast. FakeNerdGuys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BC McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for Screen Rant, Atomic Geekdom, which I got a couple of things linked below if you want to check out, and KaijuRamenMedia.com, who we just put up a review for Shin Ultraman. Spoiler free if you want to check that out. Ben?
You can find me on the internet at BenMagnet27, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And you can also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, and GoNintendo.com.
Sparks?
You can find me having a happy Halloween at SparksWitty on Instagram and Twitter, SparkzWitty.
Ryan?
I only got 3 words for y'all. It's spooky, it's scary, and it's skeletons. At DJ Tony Snark 616 everywhere all the time, all at once.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcast, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and until next time we see us, guys, stay fake nerds.
Yeah.